think the mimics were kind of neat when they just appeared as objects for a long time, and they only got the mouth out when it was time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going with the expression of that guy there, just the why.
Because the fun part is that if the teeth only come out when they're eating, it's like you want to get mimic teeth, you gotta work for them, buddy. They ain't showing up for free. Yeah, look at that. He's like, oh, God, my face.
Bonus.
I feel like my face is about to get punched
That's-
in the face.
That's Argus's little boy being asked to like present or something. Come on, show out the thing you can do. And he's like, floop.
It just says one letter, which is this. Yeah.
No, there is a perfect you are looking for, and it's the Raukau server
That one, yes.
enshrined. Or the one that what's his name always posts, the gif. God, what's the name again? Steampunks, Steamboy, Steam Knights. Gosh, what was it called again? I played that game. I should know it. Wah. The game was goofy. Something Knights. Oh, good luck finding it.
Yes. Skeleton is nice.
But I want to find the GIF because he always posts a GIF where the guy goes at the end. It drives a man to think.
I'm just gonna always post this Skelly Bones.
Oh, I found it.
Yes.
What's the game though? I need to know.
Spiral Knights.
Spiral Knights.
The original.
Oh, why did it take so long for my brain to figure that one out? But what gets me is, oh man, that reminds me of Skyland Saga. That was a game I played that I had no fucking clue what was going on, and I think the wiki was like an old version. So good luck figuring out what the hell's going on with that. Oh. Goddamn, Spiral Knights is old enough that it has a hat in Team Fortress 2. Oh my god. I love that the third fucking review is best DF2 side mission to get a cosmetic. The gameplay. Oh. State of the game in 2022. God, this game is 11 years old. What a weird thing to think about. 11 years of updates. Hey, RuneScape's on Steam? Probably the 3 version, right?
Oh, here's
Or
the
just
version
put
that
a
you want
launcher in
appreciate
an
a bit more.
coherent area.
I've heard the RuneScape 3 has actually gotten good in its own way. I haven't paid for membership in... Oh, gosh, I remember... when I started playing that game, by the way, it was back... Oh, Old School is also available. Back when I started playing that, I had to ask my mom to get me my membership because I didn't have a credit card to get it with. You're not... Papyrus, no, don't swear.
Hey, just for a sake of reference, in a few minutes I'm going to get a delivery, so I'm going to have to step in, like, away for
I made a delivery on a pizza a bit ago, and it told me that there was a payment error, but the pizza still came, and I still had to pay. So I was like, do I get my pizza or not? And that's great. It's great. Love it. All right, kids.
I got leftover pasta that Ringo ordered
Give me
last
some
night.
fresh slice, as they say. That's what they call it in, I think, what's it called? That puppy game. Chicory. But we're here for the games. Are we not? I mean, you're allowed to talk if you want to.
I mean, talking is like half of any game.
Yeah. Anyway, I've had like 18 epiphanies on 3.5's design and why Pathfinder and what Pathfinder did to it. And that was fun.
Also, us Team Fortress 2 comment, there are more hats in TF2 than there are forts in the European Union.
Take that, European Union. I don't know how hats to fort... I don't know how the
Team Fortress.
what the
It was just
conversion
something
rate
I
is.
heard from random trivia thing. Also, there's too many hats in TF2.
One thing I noticed about this particular setup, by the way, is that it has a custom pause spinny thing. The Foundry. Which is neat. It's like a little sun instead of the usual clock. It's also uneven. But I'll be fine. Anyway, we're playing Mindjammer. a game of the future, a strange new future, and also a significantly less like. I think an interesting component is what you could call like the future without future. The idea that technology moves forward, but the overall interactions with the environment remain the same. Mindjammer is the kind of science fiction that tries to actually, like, where would you go with things?
Speculative fiction.
Yeah, like, well, how would this actually change things? And it's like, well, you would go like in this situation. It's also like very clearly going with a certain kind of angle to the point that calling it science fantasy would make way more sense because it takes some liberties with the timeline, shall we say, in order to justify why the fuck there's people on other planets that travel at sublight speeds.
All sci-fi is fantasy in the end.
Take that, Star Trek.
But yeah, Star Trek involves in having a whole bunch of magical side things to make it operate.
And what Star Trek does is Star Trek asks the question, how does society change as a result of the advances in technology? Whereas Star Wars is like our society, but mirrored into a world with more fancy tech, basically.
But actually, still more different, I think, than the Star Trek one. Because Star Trek is hard sci-fi utopianism, where the advances in technology will invalidate the concept of some of the negativity in humanity. Whereas Star Wars has the element that different planets have developed separately from one another, so they're actually fairly different cultures once you get past the modern movies.
You also run into people who aren't just humans with a slightly different face all that quickly.
Yeah, you have like the Hutts, who are an entire race of people who have different values than us and are slugs.
Look at that boy. He's so goopy. And they got a little imp man. And he's
Would
called
you like to
Watto.
hear something silly about Star Trek?
Oh, okay. When you said Imp Man, I thought you meant Salacious Crumb.
Alright, Como, blast us.
The animated series that was produced a few years after the original Star Trek actually uses a bunch of hard sci-fi terms, which is amusing.
What do you mean?
Like, they talk about orbital mechanics and all that stuff during the show. They use the proper terms for it.
I'm scared now. Thanks.
Yes.
Well, it's like the Timothy Zahn trilogy in Star Wars actually use real military tactics that would make sense in three-dimensional space. That thing that they never do in the movies.
Salo, why have tactics when you can just fly your spaceship into another spaceship? Do you not understand?
Expanded universe is always the best side.
If you fly your ship very, very quickly, you can ram it into another ship. Because hyperspace is not another dimension.
Well, I mean, technically, they go to light speed and then hyperspace.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the original movies even talked about it all that much to begin with.
I'd like to
in the
pretend
first
that
movie,
this
they
is
never
a conversation
mentioned
we're
hyperspace.
having on the ship.
Gosh, should we just start a podcast considering that we...
Yes.
We could.
No.
I mean-
See, the podcast is actually 4 hours of just nothing interesting happening, and we're talking about interesting stuff. We don't qualify for a podcast.
That's called a podcast.
Really?
There's like three kinds of podcasts. There's asshole who thinks they know better than literally everybody who's ever lived, aka Joe Rogan.
Why is he called Salacious?
I don't know, but that's his actual name.
Salacious breadcrumb?
But there's asshole who thinks they know better than everybody else. There's failed actor, and there is idiots who talk to each other for too long. Those are the only kinds of podcasts.
Well, then we can
Which one are successful?
We can start a new genre.
What was that, Pullum?
Which one are successful?
All of them can be successful. It depends on if you find an audience. I could name ones from each group because a lot of the D&D podcasts are just idiots who talk to each other too long. Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster, and he's a total asshole and an idiot. And failed actors are kind of the least successful one, but that's because, you know what I say to a failed actor? Double shots my venti latte.
No, Sila, you can't go to California to get your coffee. It's too expensive.
I'd have to go back to the West Coast, yeah.
Don't do it, Sila. Don't do it. I heard there's a heat wave there.
It's California. There's always a heat wave there.
Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. All right.
Actually, I heard Oregon's been cold lately.
It's been chilly Billy in Oregon land.
Yeah, it's not supposed to get hot all week over there. Like, the hottest one all week is 25. And I'm speaking centigrade because I'm not that kind of American.
Gosh, well, let's get down to business, shall we? You're heading over to a planet, I've been told. A planet with heavier gravity than normal. A planet with a strange biosphere. A planet with a red dwarf sun. With only one other orbiting planetoid in the area. I forgot what it was, though. But there is another planet out there. I think it's red. Let's see. You are part of the SCI force, the Security and Cultural Integrity Instrumentality of the Commonality, which is a sort of utopian society whose utopia comes entirely from the fact that there is a lot of things. But now people are getting really big ideas, so everyone's arguing about all kinds of stuff, and then they made a mistake, and whoopsies! Now more people have more opinions. It's a big mess that just kept rolling and rolling, but everything worked out for most people. So, good on them. However, not everything goes alright. The commonality is mostly focused on expansion, which means contacting a variety of low-tech planets. It turns out that humanity did try to expand to space at sublight speeds. Their technology level is low, and they've only recently started arriving, or arrived in the last few thousand years. This is like, I think, like hundreds of thousands of years in the future from human, or at least tens of thousands. It's a while. That's the point. Oof. Gosh, where does the commonality even fit into this timeline? Oh, he even knows. It's so long. This is one of those planets the commonality has contacted, shaken hands with. The commonality is rather tight-lipped on when exactly they found this planet and when exactly they started contacting them, because the commonality has... Let's just say that one of their arms of government is very focused on the idea of preparing a planet culturally to be more accepting and be polite. It turns out that they kind of want to make sure that whoever joins space with all their fancy tech isn't going to start warmongering. They want to calm people, polite people. Now, the commonality does, to people like you who have a little bit of insider knowledge, admit that they technically found this planet 100 years ago. Which, let's see. Gosh, there's so many fun timelines here to look at. Years ago, commonality. Oh, it doesn't say the commonality. Fine.
Delivery's here. I'll be back in a moment. Don't get killed, guys.
We're getting killed faster.
Well, to be fair, it is Traveler. I heard you can die in character career. Well, you can if you use the permadeath rules in the Companion, where it's like if you fail a survival roll in a career, you just fucking kill yourself. One thing I like about
new one.
one thing I really like about the careers, by the way, that I noticed is that a lot of the careers follow the pattern that either the survival roll is easy or the advancement roll is easy. I think they always add up to 13, was it? Or at least in the core book, they usually add up to 13. Here we go. Let's have a look-see. I don't know, I just notice these things because I look at this table and like, Yeah, a lot of them add up to a 14 total in modifier, although some of them are a bit different. Law enforcement, for example, is a 6/6. Oh, we got a 12 here, and there's 7. Point is, I'm dumb, and I don't know anything. But there tends to be a pattern that there's a bit of a balance. Some are easy. It's easy to stick around. It's hard to actually go anywhere. For example, if you're a flying boy, it's hard to make it through alive. But if you do make it through, you're probably going to get better at it. A dilettante.
I'm a pilot.
It's easy to survive as a dilettante. It's very hard. It's easy to live as an administrator, but it's hard to actually get anywhere in your career. I love it. I love it. Scientists.
Yeah, middle management sucks.
Straight. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I had a friend when I was in Korea trying to make his own tabletop game.
Mm-hmm.
And he had this overly complicated system for how to simulate the whole it's easy to learn something and then harder to get good at it thing. And we did a playtest with him for it, and it was so poorly made, it took us like 40 minutes and I think 55 attack attempts to kill one guy.
Oh no.
Because it was just, okay, but your character is getting a little bit better at it. Okay, but your system is literally logarithms, and it's taken me a long time to hit anything. Don't worry about it. It's realistic.
Bzala. What if the guy you're fighting gets better at dodging at the same rate?
I know, that's the problem.
Oh god, he's learning as fast as I'm learning.
That's how things go. Oh my god.
See, that's the problem, ain't it? That's the problem. Well, I hope Como comes back soon with his food truck yelling to his ear how things are going around here. Golly, ollie, oxen free. You better be back fast or I'm gonna start burping. Burp. Borp. Man, this book has so many nice little pictures. It's great. What was the brown death? Might have been poopy. The brown
That'd
death.
be the joke if it was a Star Trek. If it was a South Park episode.
Oh yeah, 1/5 of the population fucking died. Oh god. Well, this is topical. In fact, this is topical in a really funny way. Oh. Cobalt, get back so I can yell again.
Well, while we're just waiting, which sci-fi element is more interesting to think about? The hyper-utopianism where an entire civilization is founded on sending out people because you're literally bored? Or one that feels more industrial and disparate?
Gosh. That is a good question.
Because Star Trek literally send the Enterprise out to find stuff because there's nothing for them to talk about.
Hello.
Hello, Mo.
That's depressing.
It kind of is. Like, that was an element, if you break down Star Trek, is they're meant to go and find things that haven't been found.
We need
But
novelty.
the way it's described...
We need novelty.
Yeah, the way it's described is that there's not really much novelty on the planet because there's a singular human federation culture that is very self-contained. So they need to send people out to go and get literally anything new.
Gosh.
Fairly sure they can get a lot of novelty shit at a gift shop.
Yeah, but you have to go to like the Klingon gift shop, and the only way to pay for that is stabbing.
All right. 100 years ago, and as your insiders, you would know this, the Commonality found this planet. Now, the Commonality standard procedures, and this is the part where if someone was reading this to a class, he gets out a big fat book, and he starts telling you that the Commonality's analysis and integration of a culture takes a while. It starts off with an embargo, which is them literally gunning anyone down who thinks that they're clever enough to go down to the planet and give them technology they don't deserve. They sent down probers, feelers, people, analyze cultures, establish reports, and boring bureaucracy takes over. Because their implementation is very cultural and subtle. The alteration of memes, of the values of a society, so that they align, so that when they come down and shake hands, it's like, oh man, look at these guys, they're just like us. What a coinky-dink. How strange we agree in so many topics.
There you go.
Memes, the DNA of the soul. More the DNA of society, I'd say. That's literally what they are.
Monsoon.
Get out of here, soul man. However, also 100 years ago was a thing called the Brown Death. The Brown Death killed 1 in 5 individuals on Old Kennedy. 1 in 5. A massive plague, to say the least. Young enough that some people are still alive to reminisce about it. Especially since, after the Brown Death, world government began to become a thing on people's minds. There was a lot of technological advancement began to push off. In 100 years, they moved from Tech Index 5 to 7, which is quite a leap, since it took them 400 years to get out of 4, and about 500 to get out of 3. So you might say that a lot of people have this failing suspicion that maybe the Commonality was there way before, doing all kinds of things outside of just cultural preparation. The point is the local culture is a little iffy-biffy, to the point that they even believe the Brown Death was a bioweapon developed by the Commonality, which of course they will deny in any state, because that's be a weird thing to do. Come on, it's just because they can just make a machine that pumps out a bunch of death viruses doesn't mean they do it. Doesn't mean they do it.
They
However,
totally do it.
20 years ago was the disclosure. When the Commonality officially revealed themselves, hands were shaken, the world government started to organize. But things had been going so hot. First and foremost, an organization known as the Fivers began to form. If you've read your forums, you would know what they are. They are a separatist movement who believe that the world should stay the way it is. 5 separate nations, which are effectively separated by race, or genotype, as it would be appropriate to call it. That's what they want. And that's not what they're going to get. Because the Commonality is more about integration, about fitting this planet into their large resource system, so that everyone can get what they want and live a nice life and make it through. The commonality is, if you really get down to it, kind of a mindless amalgam that just swallows things up into something that resembles a paradise, but it's up to you to decide if that's true or not. So naturally, if you live down there, you have some different memes. It starts to look a bit like they're fascists without a cause, especially with the Brown Death overlap and rumors abound, people smuggling things. There's no embargo, but commonality still tries to keep a lid on it. They're also not ready to actually leave, which is part of the plan. Now, things have been going poorly. The Fivers were at first just people in the streets yelling loudly about the natural order. Eventually, however, a man named Maymar Zaran died, opposing the commonality normalization shortly after the disclosure, aka the revealing of the commonality to people. He became a martyr for this organization and really sparked things off. Opona Zaran, his daughter, slowly took on this role, and recently it's been getting to a fever pitch. There is a strong suspicion that they may be planning some sort of big move. Maybe they'll blow up the Mindscape node. Maybe they'll go for the space station. Maybe they'll make a move directly on the commonality embassy. Whatever they're up to, there's a lot of concerns on all sides. Because even if you support the Fivers, the fact is that terrorists blowing up buildings in the streets is not good for anyone, not good for business. And so they send you, SCI agents. Your job is as simple as it gets. Stop these people from being violent first and foremost. The preservation of life, you might say. If you can take care of the whole organization while you're at it, great. Thumbs up. But your main job is as simple as it gets. From a grand perspective, just make sure no one dies. Because the way things are going, there might be an all-out war. The commonality generally wins wars like these against a technologically inferior opponent, localized entirely on a single planet. They have weapons for that. They don't want to use them. But if it gets there, and that's kind of the worry, right? There's a lot of people, they know this will probably get to a stalemate, and then they start to negotiate, and it'll be long and painful, and then all these memes get everywhere, and things might get complicated. So it's a headache. It's a headache if it gets there. And that's why you're
Someone
here.
might take an arrow to the knee.
You're a paracetamol here to solve this headache before it happens. Clearly, you don't own an air fryer. I've seen someone use an air fryer. It's
They're okay, but they're not super
it's
amazing.
almost like the oil is part of the process. That's what I'm gonna say. All right, slap. You are approaching the planet. You are currently located on top of a sentient starship. Might even be the one Como broke up with a while ago.
Oh, well, technically that would be also me, I guess. Just slightly different personality, probably, because we kind of got separated.
There's also someone else on board. Let me try and explain what the Mindscape is. I'm not going to explain what the Mindscape is, but I'm going to tell you that there's something called the Alpha Node, which is basically their super internet antenna. It floats in space. It's also the only instance of Mindscape connectivity that's available on the planet right now, because again, people don't like the commonality, so they're not allowed to put everything in orbit they want to. They're limited to a space station and the Alpha Node, because, Mindscape integration's so nice and stuff, and the people on the planet, they need it, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. It's what they could get away with out of necessity. Everything else is just, the slog. The Alpha Node has been suffering from some issues. As a result, you are not the only people on board this ship. Also with you is an engineer. And as the ship is lazily floating through the 2 day, that's like 72 hours, like 2 to 3 days, depending on how lucky you get with orbit. The way that interstellar travel works, aka how you get between systems, is with a planing engine, which requires you to leave the heliopause of a star, which takes a while, you might say.
The heliopause is the electromagnetic field that surrounds the solar system.
Yeah, it's basically like with Star Wars spaceships. You can't get too close to a planet or bad stuff starts to happen. You might end up in a wholly separate dimension where you can't breathe because the air doesn't work anymore. Wouldn't that be something? I don't know if that's true, but I do know that there's planing mishaps, and they don't sound very pleasant. Ooh, I always like this one of Traveler. Is one of them is that you get stuck in the jump bubble for so long that when on the other side, you come out as a little fart of like disintegrated atoms because it's been so long that the protons have decayed. Oh, it's like the best shit ever. How did you die? Well, I got turned into a proton fart.
Don't worry about it.
Is
Now-
this it?
And I'm actually going to look it up because I think it's hilarious. And I just want to know what it's called. Oh God, no, these are common spaceships. I'm looking for the spaceship rules. Thank you. Spacecraft operation should be too hard because it's a little table. The tables are easy to see. Power plant. Salaries. Oh. Any system that says, hey, by the way, you can hire people.
Cafe, I sent you a 1d20 thing.
Man, I love this. I love that it's like, hey, by the way, here's a cheat sheet for like how far long things are. What's world's surface to orbit? Time at 1G, 2G. This just gives you all the details. Doesn't really matter, but it's nice to have. Come on, I just want to know space jump mishaps. It's not that hard. Okay, what's this going on? He said, fandom. I heard that apparently Minecraft had to change everything because of the fandom stuff. Because
I think.
yeah, they had to change their branding. Oh, that might be it.
Now, I assume Pullum has been having a very, very protracted, humorous conversation throughout the whole trip with the engineer.
I hope so.
The engineer, of course.
Character.
The engineer, of course, is a little nervous because they're going to a weird planet, and as you might imagine, other cultures are strange and goofy. You don't want to deal with that stuff. What's all this? This isn't what I'm thinking of, though. Because what I'm thinking of is straight up you fucking die, but I think that also might partially be... God damn it. My brain is just like, I need to know this now. Welcome to me. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to put up with me. And my brain, which needs to know the stuff. It is a Sindel sector. Might have been their skills astrogation. Wait, I need to just find out how a jump drive works. It'll be under there. I don't think it's like meant to be a serious result, though. Miss jumps.
It's weird that they're called near misses even though they're near collisions.
Here we go. On rare occasions, because of whoops, many missed jumps are lethal, causing the jump bubble to collapse early or for time in the bubble to flow differently, so that trillions of subjective years pass inside the bubble, and all that comes out the other end is the hard radiation caused by protons exceeding their half-life. The fact that protons have a half-life terrifies me. Brr.
That means that this universe is inherently going to end one day.
Do protons have a half-life?
We don't know.
I mean, I know that half-life is a half-life. Let's see.
Supposedly, it's 10 to the 32nd years.
Oh, man, proton decay. That's just... What I got here is 1.67 times 10 to the 34th.
Yeah, we actually don't have any idea if protons decay or not. And that actually does define if the universe is eternal or not.
Spooky. The point is that the guy you're with is a little bit nervous. And before you arrive, we're going to do what's called a little setup for like you to figure out how to roll your basics and figure the basics out. As you're making your approach, and you'll soon be within what's called polite communications range, which is where people start having the handshakes and the communications proper. Your starship takes care of that. But while that's happening, you are officially here as a cargo ship. Because guess what? SCI agents generally don't announce their presence, especially because in case you read your briefing, you would know that if the Fivers or anyone figures out who you are and what you're here to do, you are targets. You are big, fat, honking targets. You are the very thing these people are angry about. You are the KGB about to tear people out of their houses and throw them in concentration camps in their heads. So try not to be too obvious about it.
For America.
Gosh. As the ship lazily drifts along, you are all given a few more tasks to take care of. Alright, Zala. I don't have your sheet yet. In fact, can everyone just post a sheet real fast so I can just bundle them together under a single banner?
This is the sheet you made.
I forgot we need to take care of a few more things now that I think of it.
Oh?
I forgot. You need to pick a skill package. Unos. And Dostos, you have to pick connection skills. Kobo, sheet please.
Sweet skill package.
Alright. I think I mentioned this before. But skill package is a thing the players get to pick. Skillo packaggio. I think I posted it too. Here you go. Is this? It is a small list of random assortment of goods. Okay, go away and go back.
Okay. Open
You get to pick one of those, and then what you do is everyone takes one out at a time.
So we pick the same one as a group, or do we pick it individually?
You all have to agree on which package it's going to be. This way you can cover your asses. In addition, you all get to pick 2 connection skills. You have to pick someone else, and then you had something in the past. Normally during character creation, everyone sits around the table and you go like, oh, I rolled this goofy event. Would you like to be part of that? And you both pick a skill, and it's like you get that skill at 1. Like maybe a character got kicked out because it was just a general mishap. He got fired, and you're like, I think he got too drunk while he was gambling, and he got taken in for disorderly conduct. And then you're like, how about you be there too? And then you both give yourself gambling 1.
The commander, I was just counting electric sheep once.
There, got all your sheets ready now. Okay, cool.
So, once I would suggest British traveler, because there's only one L in American English. Explorer would probably help us because we're exploring. I like exploring.
E.
Or investigator.
He'd better be wearing a vest.
Probably have a vest. What do you think, Poland? Which one do you want to go for?
I'm actually not sure where these packages are.
Safi linked
So
to it. Safi replied to it, so it should be his. Oh, he just put it right there.
okay, thank you. Okay, there in the traveler book, not in the Mindjammer book. Okay.
We're going to be doing a lot of shady shit. Criminal package could also work.
Shady is like what we do.
And don't forget, you also get to have your connection skills. So you can pad out your skill count a bit.
How do connection skills work?
You pick someone else. Normally, as I mentioned, during character creation, you roll events and mishaps and everything. And then you can say, like, okay, I had this mishap. You over there. How about you be part of this? And during this, something happened, and here's the reason we have this skill. Boom. And you both get that skill at 1.
Easy to tie it together.
Yeah.
I once got mad, and they separated me from my spaceship body. What if you two were there too?
Kobo literally had an idol on Crisis, and he went mad for like 2d6 hours.
Yeah, they were probably throwing like paradoxes at me to see what works, and one of them did.
Wait, this statement is a lie. Brr, brr. Must destroy all humans.
Yeah, exactly. I was a little too smart for it.
And then the dog's xenomorph was like flattering his eyelash, like, not human. You did crush the Funko Pops, though.
What skill would we get out of that then?
It's up to you to decide. But it's the same one for both. Like, you don't have to pick events, because we're kind of past that now, because normally you're supposed to do this all together in a big group, and it's a bit easier to coordinate.
Okay. So which skill package do you guys want to go for? We do have to pick that. I gave my thoughts.
Yes, criminal sounds good. Investigator too.
Okay, Como, I have said investigator, and
Let's go with
Colin has said
investigator. This
investigator.
seems to be a general consensus. Yeah.
All right. As I mentioned, the way that it works is really simple. You take one out, and then someone else takes one out.
Until there's
Until
none
you're
left. It's like a draft in Magic.
So
okay.
one person can take admin 1, one person can take advocate 2, and then those 2 are gone, and you go on and on and on until they're gone.
Well, I'll go first, just to get started. I'll take 1 from Streetwise.
Nice.
I'll take 1 for admin to pad myself out a bit more. It's going to be at 3.
Your turn, pull them.
I will take gun combat because I don't know how to fight yet.
That's probably smart then.
Basic combat training, baby.
And I will take, let's see what. Gotta find somebody's on here. I will get. Wow, I have like barely any of these.
Still a good idea to have some.
Yeah, I'm just checking if there's any I have to start with. I guess I'll take the one in wait. Is there one for diplomat there? Nope.
Advocate technically is, I think.
No, that's lawyer stuff.
They're separate.
Ah.
I'll take the one deception.
Yee. I think I'll take the stealth to bump myself up a little bit in that area.
Admin one was taken or not?
Yeah.
Not yet?
I have
do
not taken
math.
admin.
I count the cards.
He is a machine.
I will take advocate.
Yeah. If we get into trouble, you can represent us.
And the investigate hasn't been taken yet, has it?
Nope, not yet.
I'll take that one.
Okie dokie. And that remains with electronics.
Which makes sense for you.
Yeah. And just for the sake of reference, electronics is just engineering, right? At this point.
I mean,
I think so.
because on the electronics.
Okie dokie.
I like how Ornithopter's on here. It's on.
Oh no.
every
I think it
single
became
game ever.
interface. It became interface, if I'm correct.
Oh, hold on.
I think engineer was around in the first one too.
Okay, fair enough. In that case, I have comms at 2 now.
Nice.
Also, it says I have a skill cap of 33, but I haven't hit it. Does that mean I have more skill points to put in?
So total skills is basically how many total skill levels you can have. The game automatically tabulates it, so please include your Halo skills. Your Halo skills count to get your total level cap. Your max skill level is basically how high your biggest number can be.
Yeah.
And what's the skill cap?
Your skill cap is equal to, I think it's your int and education skills together times 3.
Because I still have 3 more difference between total levels and skill cap.
Now, your skill cap is just how much you can get in total at the end. If like you spend forever, that's at that point your brain is full.
Oh, okay.
Brain full. All new information goes over like smooth brain.
My brain has run out of capacity. Help me. This is my memory budget.
I
Memes, 75 terabytes. Personality, 15 kilobytes. How can I manage this? It's like delete memes. No.
Huh. Anyway, this is something that someone just slapped me with. I still love that sheer cliff of 5% though.
Yeah.
And then he just, well, am I glad I didn't go for it? But let's all throw our arms together. You're on your way to the planet. You'll be there soon. It's time to make sure that all final preparations are taken care of. As the ship slowly and lazily makes its way over. It's lazily from this side. Space is so big that even planets are slow at your speeds. Oh god. Candles. How do you spend that much on candles? You tell me. The ship zip, springs to life in your brains in the mindscape. Because the society you live in, there isn't a lot of need for people to talk. Because you can just do what's called technotelepathy. Because everyone has the same brain implant for the most part. You can just send your messages through that. This has some problems. If anyone figures out how that works, this is not that hard to disrupt it, or fuck it up, or blow up the space station that holds all the internet. Which is terrible. Because then you lose a lot of stuff, and your brain starts to make fart noises. Because a lot of people in this world are so integrated into the mindscape implant that it's kind of an extension of the you. Just like your phone is an extension of you, but your phone is crammed in your brain. Imagine that. Through your mindscape, you receive the messages. Soon to make our approach and land. Well, landing procedure. It's up to you, whatever you want to start at. Crater. What is it called again? I think it's called Crater Port High. Yeah. If you want to go to the space station first, or if you want to go straight down. Because technically you are wanted on the planet's surface by your sort of superior. The commonality is weird. The person who's a representative for the commonality surface side is sort of your representative and contact point, but he's not your boss. It gets weird. That's what you get with societies like this. Everything's all wibbly wobbly.
But is it timey-wimey?
Before they land, however, the ship would like to announce that there are a few complications that require some taking care of. First and foremost, the engineer that you are helping with appears to be suffering from some heightened emotional state. Their heart rate is unusually high, and they haven't been very responsive to attempts to interact. They've even set their Mindscape profile to private, which is an indication that maybe someone needs to talk some courage into him. It's understandable. He's going to a planet where people are most certainly going to kill individuals like him if they are given any more of a reason, so it's only natural he's a little bit worried about it. In addition, they're going to need someone to head over to the cargo hold and make sure that all of the cargo is properly strapped in. You're delivering some new fancy commonality tech, and that stuff better not be broken by the time you land. So strap it in tight, as they say.
Oh.
What, huh? The final thing is that they need to have someone come over to the cockpit and just run a quick glance over all the panels. There's some minor interface issues that just require a quick glancing eye to make sure that the ship's operating as intended, and it's just a minor graphical glitch at worst.
Okay, if that's okay, I'm not gonna do that one because our relationship is not very good.
Okay, I think I should go talk to the engineer.
Yeah. I can go
The
handle
engine.
the crates.
Do not talk to the engine.
Why not? Engines like it. You wouldn't understand. That's a robot.
Look, we've had a long talk with a guy who is literally a ship.
Mm-hmm.
You figure this
Well-
stuff out.
Well, this ship is a person. Of course I know him. He's
All
me.
right. So, Como's probably going to be doing the cargo check then, huh?
Yes.
He is good with numbers.
Como, your
Yes.
body is an avatar. It is an extension, or used to be an extension. Now it's what
Yes.
you're stuck with.
Yes.
It's not a meat form.
At least it's not a meat bag, yeah. I wouldn't be able to stand all the
I
slogging.
think Pollum is a meat bag, though. I think he's actually organic.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Like he's a meat
I'm
body
organic.
with a brain trend. Not only is Xyla specifically organic, but they're a little too electrically charged that some of their implants and stuff tends to go a little bit wibbly wobbly sometimes.
I'm the one who's not dependent on my implants because they don't work all the time.
The funny thing about them too is that they also come from like a really recently integrated planet. It's very unusual for the SCI to hire those kinds of people, indicating that they have a very particular set of skills that interested someone up there.
I'm Liam Neeson.
Nice.
Uh-oh. Don't
All
die.
right. Let's start off with
No,
Xyla.
not Sean Bean. Liam Neeson.
Mm.
Let's start off with you, Electrofox, which I didn't give a name because I would lift it up to you. What's the name?
Let me go and add it.
Slap on. Come on, just smash. We go Xyla T.
Styla T Electrofox. The T stands for the.
The. The T in Baby T Claire does not stand for the. It stands for
Thaddeus.
terrible. For she's an enfant terrible.
If you don't speak French, you're scaring me. Exactly.
Xyla
Go
makes
back
her
to
way
France.
to the front of the ship. The light and comfort of these environments are great, but spaceships are still somewhat constrained in terms of how spacious they can make them. It's just mostly just a practical element because people shouldn't be on their ships the whole time. That being said, some individual... So, a thing you need to consider is that these places, these planets, by the way, they were found, and Como would know this because he might have applied for the job, is they send out sentient starships to random stars, and then they fly around looking for people. You might have actually done that. I think it's actually a career path you could take, is you just go to new planets and you just take a look around.
Yeah, we gotta do
sounds
it.
Sounds like a very lonely job, though.
I actually wrote a story about that for Wolf Rider.
Nice. Making your way to the front, Sal. The first thing you notice is that the cockpit is... You are the kind of person who grew up without a Mindscape implant, so you would know... You can... Integrated as it may be, the fact that it glitches sometimes means that to you, the Mindscape isn't as seamless. It isn't just, whoop, everything's there. To you, it's always this augmented layer that you can see through. Sort of like when you disbelieve illusions in D&D. It doesn't feel as real as it should. As you gaze upon this, there are control panels you could use without an implant, but like a lot of it is just created for your very eyes to see. You are asked to check the control panels. How do you intend to approach this task? Because you're not a spaceship engineer. You're kind of improvising this by the seat of your pants.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at it, see if anything's looking weird. Like, is it working?
All right. It's gonna be great. I want you to roll me. We'll be efficient. I guess technically speaking, it'll be engineering something. Let's say engineering. Let's say gravity engine, because that makes sense. That's what you're doing here. Or interface if you have it. If you have neither, you don't even have a little 0 in it, then you use your untrained DM plus your jack of all trades level.
Okay, so this would be...
what I want you to roll is not just that number. I also want you to add to that your education, because this is like, or intellect, I guess, because you're trying to improvise more than recalling knowledge.
There was interface. Okay. I have none of that. I am bad with machines.
Your jack of all trades is 2, so you have a -1. Add to that your intellect, so you have a 2d6 -1. Give it a go. I don't care if you roll real world dice or if you use this digital interface, it's up to you.
8.
Nice. That's good.
Above average.
Everything seems to be alright, but you can't help but notice that some of the lights are flickering awkwardly.
Okay. I want to use my psionic electro brain powers to see if I can trace where the things are going weird.
Alright. Do you stay standing in the center of the room? Because what you're saying is a bit of vague, like... What does...
Okay. So I would step away from the panel.
Okay.
And I would try to focus on the electro psi abilities I have.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of see if I can see where the circuits are going weird in case it is coming from there or if it's a different short.
Well, I think that your electro psi plus your recon skill is a total of +4, which is enough that you can kind of figure out that there seems to be electric sparking going on. Which is, to be specific, you sense the ionization of the air. What you might call a lightning bolt.
Oh no, that thing I can do.
It's on a small scale, though, and located in the interior of the panel. Now,
okay,
the most ships have, like, diagnostics, but they're not that level of diagnostics, because the wires don't magically fray like that.
Well, I'm going to try to pop off the panel so I can take a look at it.
You pop off the panel and take a look. You find that the wire is indeed frayed and exposed. The metal parts are sparking up a storm, and it's even been bitten through. Your nose catches a particularly toasty, but also rather off smell.
I'm going to try and find the source of it. It's probably some stupid animal that got exploded.
It is a stupid animal that got exploded. It's rather rare for spaceships to have, hanger-ons. But you pick the deep-fried corpse of a rat out from under the control panel. Ooh.
Well, that's going into the not here box.
That's going in someone's report. Como, you're walking around the cargo hold. There are many big boxes here. If any one of these snapped loose, they could easily crush even your body. Between two of them, like a hammer. Because each of them is loaded with at least a ton of stuff.
Uh-oh.
Making sure these things are strapped in tight is important. The commonality uses, just like we do, a standardized kind of crate and container. They have these special magnetic locks that slide onto the sides and or the floor and the ceiling, wherever they need to be. And they have little pockets where you can put straps through and tighten them up.
Yes.
Making sure that everything is properly strapped in will take a bit of time.
Okie dokie. That works for me.
Are you certain? This sounds like a very boring job.
I like boring jobs, dude. I fucking like accounting.
All right.
I uncovered...
Oh, God dang it. What, Celsius?
I am also a robot. I was made for this probably as well.
It used to be a ship.
It used to be a ship, yeah.
Yeah, he's used to paying attention to this stuff for literal months.
I know how terrible it is to have stuff rattling inside your guts. Some loose box or whatever.
Give me, in that case, a dexterity recon check.
How would that go?
Then you take your recon level, you take your dex dice modifier, the DM, you add those two numbers together, then you roll 2d6, and then that's what you get. I forgot how
Oh,
the
gosh.
game terminology works. I know it looks a bit like how 5e does it in terms of
Okay, so
nomenclature.
go over it again for me, please. I take my reckon, which is 3.
You take
okay.
your recon. You
Yes.
take your dice modifier for dexterity.
Okay.
Nice roll.
And you roll 2d6.
2d6. Yeah.
Oh, this is how the game handles it. It goes an astrogation check, then mentions the time. Okay. The way that the game phrases them is difficulty, then the type of check, like the skill, then the time it takes, and then it mentions the characteristic you're allowed to add to it. All right. Wow, that's a really good roll. I think that is considered like a very difficult task difficulty you would pass there. Yeah, that's very difficult. That's very good of you. Pat, pat. Taking a look around, you find that, well, most of them are strapped in tight. A lot of these crates, it's really hard to define, but because you can't move a box that is a ton worth of material just like that. Even you can't do that with your fancy robot body.
If I have a big enough lever?
Maybe. But you can tell that some of these boxes are definitely loaded beyond their intended capacity. Or at the very least, if they aren't beyond their capacity, at the very least are loaded with more than the consistent tonnage that is expected.
Yeah, just unbalanced.
Possibly.
They stuffed like the heavy stuff at the top.
What do you do with the boxes that are not quite up to code, shall we say?
Do I have access to actually open it? Excuse me.
You're going to open them?
Reshuffle the stuff inside.
Well, there's like 3 of them, and you decide to take a look at one of them. You're not supposed to open these boxes while they're locked in. There are locking mechanisms for that. So.
Well, is it just a rule, or is there actually like warranty void if open?
There is like a necessary override that must be performed for this to happen.
Well, yeah, sure. I'll look into one. If there's nothing suspicious in there, I'll just secure others with like extra straps and leave it at that.
Beep, boop. Since you have the interface skill at all, this is something you can easily take care of.
Yes. Let's hope they're not like dead hookers in there, because somebody forgot to poke holes in them.
The rolled R's. Well, in Dutch you have rolled R's.
I had to learn how to do it for Spanish.
I'm teaching a guy to do rolled R's because he's studying the language.
I would like for you.
English doesn't have it, which makes English more boring.
English has something called the schwa.
We do have a few weird things. Like, all of the rules are stupid, but...
Yes.
Taking a look inside, this box is registered to contain a series of data panels and control systems, aka Mindscape implant or interfaces stuff. What you find among it, however, doesn't quite match that.
Have to file a complaint.
Some of these are not... They're not weapons-grade components, but they are like industrial-grade bits and pieces you would need for like gravity engines, aka hover vehicles. Trucks, cars. If you were feeling fancy, you could probably put a whole castle on them. It's called a space station.
I mean, yes, that makes sense. Now, can I pull up who is delivering this and to where?
Technically speaking, this delivery is a cover operation by the SCI.
So it's our guys.
Yeah, so it's entirely made under the title of the actual company that usually makes deliveries like this.
Okay.
I can look up the name for you, but like it checks out on a surface look.
Well, I mean, if it's our guys, then yeah, sure, fair enough.
Actually, let me see who does take it. I forgot this. Like a whole funny table that tells you all about this.
Yee.
Heavy weapons are made by Passarm. Pleskov and Sons Armaments. If you want a combat worker or lifter, you go to the Murasaki Corporation.
That's cute.
Let's see. GrafTech is made by Java Wayne Industries.
My concern here is if this is being delivered to the planet's residents, then it's not. Then it's a bad idea.
All these items are actually specifically earmarked for the embassy.
Well, in that case, everything is fine. I'll just secure them better. I guess they're just trying to cover something up, but since we're working for them, I guess.
Pull him. You are taking care of the engineer, who is, well, he's like a little lizard man. The kind of person who fits in all the tiny spots that a ship or, well, station might have.
Useful.
Indeed. This little fella is indeed shivering when you first see him. sitting in this office chair that's meant for a person a bit bigger than him. Proper accommodations are normally made, but they couldn't be. So he had to make do with a bed that's too big for him. But hey, that's luxury for you, ain't it? But he does appear to be somewhat nervous about the situation. Indeed, his Mindscape connectivity is the handshake that would normally be made where you get like a basic profile on people. You know, imagine if any time you talk to someone, you got their whole Facebook profile beamed into your brain. You don't get that. Set to private. He also doesn't immediately acknowledge your presence in the doorway.
So I'm going to call him by his name. Because I suppose I've been talking to him a little bit during our travels, so I would like to engage in friendly conversation.
The small creature doesn't jump up because due to the way the Mindscape implant works, he still knows you're there. Like, he still gets that pling of the door opening and everything. He does turn around and his hands are close together, fingertips wheeling against one another. Telepathically, you get the message of like, even his mind can't focus on this. Mindscape communication is rather smooth and flawless, and you can communicate things that a language couldn't a lot of the time, because guess what? You can send pictures that you make with your brain!
And you can manipulate parts of the brain for chemistry.
Yeah, there is a limit, though. There's a skill you have to take to actually make, like, cool brain pictures, but you can make, like, basic shapes and stuff very easily. The point is, this small figure is, even in the brainscape, incapable of communicating properly. If he was a person, he'd probably be sweating, judging by how his body temperature is elevated.
He's warm-blooded.
So
vibrating.
I tell him I can't read him on the Mindscape, so is he capable of telling me what's going on through words?
He gives you the nervous kind
Verbal
of
communication.
I mean, the Mindscape channel that he opens is entirely available like that. The problem is just that you can't start one necessarily. I mean, you can force one. There are ways to do that, but that's not considered polite, and sometimes it hurts. As I mentioned, he's already like giving you this shaky answer and tries to sort of move around it. In the kind of sense that he answers the question like, no, things are fine. You know, there's no planet, no new people, giving all those very, very basic, very flat answers that don't sound very credible.
So I can try to reach him through the Mindscape to tell him obviously something is wrong. So I ask him whether something is wrong with the planet or with the ship. What's the source of his anxiety?
All right, now this is where you're going to have to roll me persuade, together with let's say your intellect. You're trying to be polite, maybe social standing if you have it. And just trying to be nice about it, you know, arm around everything. As in, you're not being forceful in conversation. You're not being overly formal. You're just like hello, informal. So that's persuade and your intellect. And if you don't have persuade, you don't have even a little zero, you take -3.
So I will take -2.
Yep. So in the system, your outcome isn't just yes, no. There's what's called effect. If you succeed the check by 0, you get it. Something goes a little miss. 1 to 5, it just works. And if you get 6 or up, good job. You're not in the exceptional failure category, which would be considered a botch. You know, the bad part of town. Also, if you get a -1, like you're just under, that's just a marginal failure. You still kind of get it, but you're in the failure section. He doesn't respond very good to that. He just starts rattling and rambling about very technical specs and terms about how he's worried about, you know, this is my Mindscape instance, and if he screws it up, this is all the big problems and everything. His hands still pressing together.
So I'm going to try to reach him and touch him on the shoulder.
Physical contact. You're a bioform,
Yes.
so luckily you automatically come with heated components, unless you went specifically for a cold-blooded body.
No.
The small creature looks up at you. Doesn't really look like a person. It's very there's a scale for this that tells you like how much person-like an anthropomorphic creature is, how much a xenomorph looks like a human, and he's definitely on the animal side of the spectrum, shall we say. He doesn't seem to feel too comfortable about this, and well, eventually does kind of let out what his problem is. He's a little man. He's just so small, and he's going to a planet where, from what he's heard, things aren't going so hot, and he's just worried about how a little guy like him, he's not gonna fit in. He's read the reports. There's no one there that has scales. That's that small, and he's self-conscious. He feels worried that he'll stand out, and everyone will say things about him. And they'll get locked up in Calm Town, and he'll sit there the whole way through instead of doing anything fun around the place.
Well, I'm going to try the approach of telling him that he's since he's small and it's kind of unique on this planet, it's going to be an advantage for him. He's going to be able to go to places over normal people of the planet, or over inhabitants of the planet are not used to be able to go. So there will be going to things to explore, interesting things to do.
All right.
And I think if I can't get any more from him, I'm going to stop there, I think.
What the heck? Man, this diagram is cool. Now I'm looking at oh man, I got a picture of this. Like, what's it called? What is it called? Oh well. Oh, that's terrifying. These maps are neat. This is just neat. This is I don't know if this will paste, but it's commonality stuff, and it's terrifying to see like how sophisticated the information is. It's like how many people are in the commonality. What's the relation? What is the chrono displacement, aka the fact that mindscape transport takes some time to do? Like, how does that relate? These are all scary things to think about. It's so big that it's difficult to manage. I don't think it'll paste though, because it's super big fucking PDF. But alright, you tell him that he's small. It'll be an opportunity. It'll be a good time. You address that particular fear with your conversation. You can roll me persuade again with a boon, because that's his worry. Or at the very least, it appears to be something that'll land a bit better. Now, a boon means you roll 3d6, and you take the highest two of them.
Well, that's how advantage is handled.
Yep. You roll an extra die, and you roll with it. I think if you use the roll interface on your sheet, you can actually use that. It's called... where is it? Type advantage, disadvantage. There you go. But you can just roll me 3d6 and we'll just do it with our brains.
Yes, I think that's better.
Of course, if you're feeling fancy, you can just do 3d6, keep highest 2. And that'll do the same. 8. Let's see, that's 7 minus 2. He doesn't seem too assured by this. There's something about your presence that... It's probably the fact that a lot of you are very clearly fancier people with what you're doing here. He knows that something's up. He doesn't know the details, though. The most he knows is that you're going to the embassy. You're going to meet fancy people. There's something up with you. So he doesn't trust you. You know, you might be part of some instrumentality that's about to pull some big shit. And he doesn't want anything to know about that. Which is something that you might be common with, depending on how long you've been with the SCI. To some extent, you are kind of those kinds of people. If not, this will be your first time, and it might be a shocking experience to see someone who looks you dead in the eye, and you can see the gears spin in their head as they try to give you the societally accepted answer to what you want to hear. there isn't much more you can do from this point forward as he sort of closes up and decides that you are not someone that is going to actually assuage his fears.
Assuage.
I say Assange because of sausage.
Assange is the guy who was in charge of WikiLeaks.
Begone, Assange. Anyway, it's old Kennedy, baby. You'll arrive soon enough. The ship communications happen, and you manage to listen in. Everything seems to be going all right. You've been scheduled for a landing Craterport down, which means that soon you will be on land. Ooh, places where you can stretch out and see the sky. The ship goes in low through the thick, clouded atmosphere. Gravity begins to pull on you as the ship deactivates its internal gravity engines. Part of landing procedure. You don't want to have those things on all the way. Not because of energy concerns, but just so you can get used to it.
Yes.
Now, I already told you everything that's weird about this planet, but let me remind you, it's a little heavier than normal, about 30% more. The robots won't really feel this too much, but organic components will definitely feel this. Oh, like you just gained a lot of weight. Your bones will need some time to adjust. Yeah. Taking a look outside, you can see that the sky is a yellow-orange. There are 2 red suns, in fact. They are both 3 times the size of our sun. Wait, oh no, one is large. The other one is just a bright one. Everything looks different. Even Comtown, which is normally grays and blues. That's kind of the commonality standard before they properly integrate. That's just like, we are slick and modern, the presentation they go with. Which is kind of weird. You think they would go with like lush pinks and softer colors, but... You also can't... You have a ship status interface, and it tells you that it's constantly making micro adjustments because of massive battering winds hitting the side of the ship. It just doesn't seem to stop at any given moment, and the ship touches down. You are currently located on a spaceport. Now, you are very briefly given an important reminder. You are on a planet that has an economy. While you are technically issued commonality credits to make your purchases, there's a limit to it, mostly so that you don't crash the economy by spending it all.
And don't sell them advanced technology. That would also destroy their economy.
Technically speaking, you are allowed to sell them what you want. Like, there's no embargo on imported technology, but they are trying to control it, as mentioned. It's just that there's no, like, legal push behind it. Just like, if you sell them a nuclear, like, a star blow-uppy bomb, you'll get in trouble.
I mean, I could use 1 less star.
The ship takes a few moments to adjust atmosphere. You are reminded the days here are only 18 hours, 9 hours of work, 9 hours of sleep, as they say.
This world sucks.
A look outside also reveals a very disparate kind of feel. There is a cleft, a divide between what is Comtown, which is, according to the reports, the part that belongs to the commonality that they built with their fancy modern technology, and the part of town that belongs to ye old. There's a picture in the book that I will show you in a bit that actually captures this feeling very nicely. This sort of slummish feel, often that, get out of here, lost. The comparatively slummish cities that they've built for themselves, made out of stone and sometimes out of concrete and brickwork. And then in the distance, the high-tech, brightly illuminated city of Comtown. Ain't that something to think about?
Pretty.
You are also reminded that if you happen to have any need of any particular kind of medical assistance, there is a Chembu Genealogy facility available. Please do not hesitate to take the boat there.
Go up there, it's like, help me, I lost all of my skin.
Give me a moment, I need to turn some buttons on.
Oh my god, there's a less technologically advanced area. I like this. I'm from a backwater planet.
In case you wonder what the Temple of the Universal Mind is, that's what they call the planet, like, it's an extra Mindscape amplification node, basically. It's called that because that's what most people think the Mindscape ultimately is, this sort of hive mind and melody thing. Again, a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and as the SCI, you're first to read the document that tells you about all about them.
Gosh.
A giant wall of rock, a hillside, separates the 2 towns. One is Old Sipy and Harvard, which are, where they hang out. The pylons are very visible. Como, since you are you used to be a starship, you can tell, you might have read this, but you can tell, like, that is just the massive skeleton of an old ship sticking out of the ground.
Yes.
Which is what the pylons are. Historically, it's supposedly the ship that they came from.
I'm going to point my party members towards it. I'm going to say, that's metal as fuck.
You also see the World Unity headquarters, the Commonality Embassy, and Friendship Square. Delightful. The ship says a sort of farewell to you, but does remind you that if you ever need to get picked up, they're a broadcast away. They have to deliver those engineers to the Alpha node to take care of business over there. You are now on the planet's surface. You need to go through customs because, unfortunately, you are not allowed to take anti-tank equipment with you into town.
Yes.
Please leave your anti-tank equipment at the door when entering.
Yes.
The starport is... The Commonality likes to build fancy, high-tech, assisted landing starports because you never know who's at the wheel. But they have to make do with a bunch of large concrete slabs on the ground, which makes some traveler starports look fancy. And there's a large central building, but you're going to have to go through customs first, which is this small building over here. A little adorable little car with like little wheels, vroom, comes up, and you're allowed to go into the little bus, and it's you can just feel the difference in technology as you sit on these pleather, in some places torn seats. The inside smells like someone smoking. Who smokes? Is that a thing people do? Ooh. And then it goes, ooh, that is the humming of a combustion engine. Oh, that is a combustion engine. You haven't heard that in a long time. It drives you over to a large steel and metal structure that is the Starport Authority. Also inside this vehicle with you they have to be tourists because one of them has a Polaroid camera that he's taking pictures with.
Oh, that's awesome.
Stop.
Look, that's awesome. Also, is this a bus?
So you are on like a little bus, yes, that drives some
that makes
starports.
sense.
Yeah. It goes vroom vroom, which is weird because most things work like that. In fact, you're pretty sure the technological report mentioned that most things around here work on like microfusion cells. The fact this thing is a combustion engine is weird. Where did they get the fuel from? Don't you need like an organic life form that's been around thousands of years to get oil?
Not necessarily. You can make it like...
It can come from stone and other organic things.
But it's one of those things that goes through your head, presumably.
Island greenest people.
Do you want to say anything to the tourist, or to the person who's driving this car, who appears to be an ape man? He's driving it with both his hands and his feet.
Dude, I'm gonna post for the camera. Fuck it. Polaroids are awesome.
The camera people are not interested in taking a picture of you.
Oh, fair enough.
To be fair, they do appear to be commonality folk, judging by the way that they dress. They just look excessively fancy. They're also doing a thing that you were told about, which is that they squint. Because, as mentioned...
Right. Yeah, two suns.
Yeah, the color is very different.
Gosh. Well, yeah, you know what? Actually, yeah, because the everything is gonna have like an orange tone to them, probably. I'm gonna buy sunglasses with whatever pocket money I have if I have an opportunity, just so I can wear sunglasses.
You're at the Starport Authority now. You can get on out, get on over. You have with you your bags, whatever capacity they come with most of your tools and equipment. Starport Authority. I know that we live in a TSA world, but that's not the way things work around here. Also, I'd like to point out, you can tell how Comtown is different from Old Seppi because of how the streets are laid out. Like
you have no idea, Safi, until you've had to fly through America after flying through Dutch airports. It sucks so hard over here.
But Sila, you gave these people so much power, they're never going to give it up.
Yeah, they never do anything with it.
Well, I mean, they can ruin your vacation.
Yeah, this is literally a level 20 retired adventure issue.
I wish. Then they'd be competent. So now uncooked food is bad. Chicken medium rare. Oh, Sila, please don't do that.
I posted that. Not that.
I didn't do the.
You're a fox. You want your chicken.
Yes.
The starport is there's the little checkup. They mostly go through your bags. They're making sure you're not carrying. This planet allows anything if it's heavier than an assault rifle or an assault rifle or up, automatic. Basically anything that's not self-defense will get questions asked. You could press your position because technically you are authorized to take anything heavier with you if you want to. Otherwise, you've left it on your ship, or you can try to smuggle it in because these checks aren't perfect. Is there anything that you would like to declare or need to declare, or are all your illegals left on the ship?
My bow's probably not illegal, right?
No, archaic weapons are perfectly allowed.
Then, no, I think I'm fine. I just have my bow.
Well, aside from my tier 10, I think, or tier 9 weapon, I don't think anything could be illegal, aside from myself.
Como dumps the disintegrator rifle on the table. Hey, is this illegal? And it just shoots a hole in the wall.
Look, it's
oh my god,
sorry,
it's that
the trigger
scene
is
from
very...
The Matrix.
No, it's that scene from Falling Down. It's like, sorry. The trigger is very sensitive.
So the disintegrator rifle is not with you?
I'll take it with me. Screw this. It's probably like in some sort of like cover, because again, this is lower technology level. It's probably better to like cover it up so it doesn't get stolen.
Technically speaking, the disintegrator rifle is illegal by commonality standards too.
Well, yeah, but I have permission, so. My mom said it's my turn on the disintegrator rifle.
All right.
And I have a stunner guns that's TL12 apparently, so I don't think that's going to go through.
Well, it's TI technically. This is just a slightly different standard.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a conversion chart somewhere in the book. Let me see if I can find it for you real fast, because it's real nice to have on hand. I think they should have come with a slightly different term, because TL and TI are a bit close together in terms of writing. Feels like someone.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see the difference there.
It feels like someone who's having a laugh at like, oh, try to figure out if this password has an L or an I.
God, that's why some password systems don't use both of those unless they're in all capitals.
Not allowed. Illegal.
Also, seriously, I imagine Como's character being like, again, that scene from The Matrix. Please remove all metal objects, including just opens a code, just guns.
Would you like to see my guts, sir?
It's a Robbie Williams fucking music video where he strips to the bone.
Can you give me a stealth dexterity check?
Yes. Let's see. So stealth dexterity. So it's going to be dexterity +1, and then stealth 4 and 2d6. Let me see.
Disintegrator rifles are remarkably portable, but they'll definitely know that something is up, because that does not look like an authorized stun rifle.
Yeah. Well, I do carry an authorized stun rifle right next to it, so. Hold on. So it's going to be roll 1 + 3 + 2d6.
You're good. Starport Security Authority, they give you a little all clear, and would like to remind you that if you want to, you can leave Comtown, but for the most part, for people like you, Mindscape connectivity gets a little iffy out there, and people aren't exactly just giving you the basic warning so that tourists know to skew their expectations. But other than that, welcome to Old Kennedy, and they give you a little friendly salute, and then you get into the part of town which is immediately welcome to culture, where people sell their cultural garbage as gift shop accoutrements. Do you want to buy a snow globe of the crater?
Oh, great, I'm back in Venice.
Do you want to buy a delightful vessel belonging to one of the old pirates of the Golden Sea?
I'll buy a snow globe.
There are all these ridiculous props. Now, again, because commonality people are issued money, they're usually quite wealthy, because the commonality's like, we don't know. They're not going to make you live on a poverty wage, so they usually give their people a lot of money because they overspend a lot. And also, commonality people don't know how to haggle because they barely know how money works. So the vast majority of them will pay out the ass for simple crap. It's hilarious. It's funny to watch someone like pick up what is effectively a roll of toilet paper. So like, is this $50? Sure. Ass paper. That's what they call it. It's... As SCI agents, you are familiar enough with this thing that it's kind of funny. But it's also like, from a professional standpoint, I imagine that you have some like professional aspect of like, no, this is kind of sightseeing of the wrong kind.
Well, if there is something that I can proudly wear to broadcast that I am tourist, I'm definitely buying it.
I mean,
a scarf or something, something like I wear.
Most people around here seem to indeed buy like a specific set of sunglasses, because there's a guy with a little cart that he pushes around who is like, get your sunglasses here just for our sun. Blots out the red, brings in the yellows.
Absolutely, I want one. I want a pair.
They have
I want 7.
They have an extra thick frame, so you can really tell that you're wearing them. You buy yourself a set, and he's like, "Oh, get a look at this. Don't see many of what you call them robots coming down here, but you got yourself one.
Yeah.
You sure you want to be around here? I heard that all the oxygen means that all those little metal parts inside of you are gonna spark and pop like little explosions."
That's why I'm here.
Come on. Come on, can I get really fast an intellect roll?
And then, oh my god. Well, I'm a dummy. Give me 1 second.
How are you a dummy?
I was
You're
cut off
attached
from
to
my.
Wi-Fi.
I was torn away from my actual brain.
You
so,
have
yeah.
the internet.
That internet will not protect you from the mistake you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. So 2d6. Let's do it. 3.
You. I don't know if your friends have to say. You try to mindscape talk to him for a while before you realize, wait, fuck, I have to say words now.
Yes.
And then you start actually speaking. He laughs because you imagine he's used to it if he's at the starport all this much. It's probably a common occurrence. Oh, that telepathy won't work on me, boy. I've got a lead skull. It doesn't work in here. I'm one of those, what you call them, rejects. Can't even get that fancy immortality stuff you're throwing around. Oh, don't worry about me.
The fox just shrugs. Finally, someone who actually wants to talk.
Oh. Well, so what are you here to take a look at? You coming for the wildlife? I heard the clams are nice. This time of year. Ooh, I know. He taps his nose and gives a big smile. I know what you're here for. You're here for those, I don't know much about them because I'm one of those city slick-on guys, just like you. You live in your ivory towers, although I heard they're made out of metal. Whatever metal that is.
Man, you would not have enough ivory for a tower even if you tried. Holy shit.
It takes him a moment ooh, an answer. Didn't see that one coming.
I mean, look, I did the math. It would take a lot of ivory, and it decays too quickly to build buildings out of it.
No, you didn't do the math. You got online and looked up someone else who did the math.
Sailfins, that's the term.
Yes, I mean, that works too.
If you're here to see the migration of the sailfins, you're not sure if that's this time of year, actually.
Gosh. You know what? Actually, yeah, fuck it. I'll spend a moment just listening to him talk about the sightseeing and whatnot. Why not? I'll engage with this dummy.
So,
also, I don't live in any ivory towers. I'm from the friggin' middle.
Is there anything anyone else goes to do? Because Cum will be busy for a little while. Or are you all okay just hanging with this guy for a bit?
I'm gonna go and just sort of scout out the area a little bit and see where we could get in touch with the authorities, because that's kind of our job.
Well, the authorities are not at the starport, not the ones you're supposed to be contacting mission-wise. So, just give me a recon check. See what you see around the place. Recon intellect.
I should have recon. I'm going to assume my recon skill is under my skills.
Como, as you talk to this guy, you get some...
Yes.
Basically, I'm going to give you what's called a forward. Or I think that's what it's called. You get yourself a boon when it comes to knowing something about the local colors and culture.
Yes, that's exactly why I'm doing this.
So you basically, you know a little bit more. You have a fun conversation, or you're immediately on the ground, you get your ear on the grapevine. You got it taken care of. Now, the first thing you learn is about some of the people. Now, your report didn't mention this too much. The Colombiana are the dominant human culture. They're where Craterport is located, and they consider themselves... Oh god, this is really hard to explain.
What was I supposed to roll, by the way?
In
Recon
select
plus.
Recon. 2d6.
Okay, I have a 0 in int, but I have 5. No, I have a 3 in recon.
Nice. So, come on. The Colombianas... Jesus Christ, this word.
Colombian.
Colombianians. It's Colombian ants. Colombian ants. Colombian ants? The point is, the Colombians, because I'm not going to say that, they came around 1,000 years ago. They're kind of a recent population. And they're the ones who are like, oh, the commonality, yes, the commonality woke us up. They're progressive people that like to pretend that they're part of everything. They're the big guy. You learn about the Vancouverai. They're, let's see, the Colombians are 12 million. The Vancouverai are a third of that, only 4 million. They're frontier folk. They live in really low-tech stuff, like tier T5, T4, which is industrial computer age, about us, if a bit earlier. They also come from the original colonists who didn't return to stasis after what's known as the Burning Sky event. They're like really old people. If you want to meet some rustic rural people, you go visit them.
They live in the 90s.
Yes, apparently they also had a massive empire long ago, and well, they're little about that.
So did the Polish.
They wear
and now they live in tier 4, tier 5.
There's the Navasha, which are they're the old ape people. 5 million agricultural. They're forest people. They're they're what you want. Their culture is very spiritual and very developed, very traditionalist. The Omnianto are they were Navasha, but they broke away. They wanted to focus on technology and progressivism, on moving ahead as a culture. They're that kind of people, Supposedly they were part of the Colombians' xenomorphic labor force. It's unclear what they're part of. The last one you hear about is the Akantak. The Akantaks. 2 million of them, not many. They live in the snow layer. They live in outside of the crater where the atmosphere is weird and the air is cold. And they're these really weird people. You can tell when you see them because they look weird. They look strange. They have they have a much darker skin than the Colombians or the Vancouver. They have weird eyes and everything. You'll know when you see them, and they wear these thick coats. In general, the population here has bigger eyes because of the light being a bit different. But this guy in particular. Red is also a very common color. You can easily tell who is from Compton, who isn't, he tells you, by if they wear a lot of red. The more red they wear, the more likely they're local. Because red glows under the sunlight here. Because it's a red sun. Get it?
If I cover myself in blood, will I pass for a local, I wonder?
Your crew joke makes him laugh because it's funny. Poland, what are you doing while this is going on? Also, Zala rolled the roll. Let me just quickly see what that gets you. Zala, the thing that picks up your attention the most is there's this dude in a red jacket, and he's handing out flyers. And he kind of stands out because he doesn't talk to anyone that looks commonality-esque. He only talks to what you perceive are locals, judging by the basic forms you've read.
I wish to observe him, because I probably stand out being not native.
You're better off than Como.
I'm fully biological looking.
You're not red enough, even though you're a red fox, apparently.
I can change my colors.
Your basic observations reveal that this individual is quite spirited in what he is doing. He hands out flyers from time to time to locals, and he at times gives this very spirited sort of speech, like, yes, yes. The details escape you, because you can't quite hear it unless you get a little closer and actually, eavesdrop. But whatever he's doing, he's excited about it.
I kind of want to eavesdrop.
Whenever a commonality person actually gets close and tries to talk to him, he shuts down and sort of goes, no. He shakes his hand, and he shakes his head, and he's like, no, go away, move on.
Can I try to deceive him?
In what way?
Make him think that I'm not necessarily commonality.
The broom. Oh, that's
a deception.
That is a tough call to convince someone that you're not actually commonality. What is the lie you're going to go with to make that work?
I'm from outside of the city, and I'm just from a small group, and I'm just back in town for the first little bit. Hunter.
All right. Well,
I have a bow. That's all I'm carrying for tech.
The problem I'm going with is that most people here know that the vast majority of the population is either a monkey or human-esque. So convincing him will require a little bit of a twist.
Have you heard about these guys called furries?
Oh, this doesn't come with the text. Let me actually label this for you because this is what you get. Left.
Wait, hold on. Just tell him the highest tech you're carrying is your $3,000 fursuit.
Took me a lot of money to get that.
Exactly. That's why you don't have any other tech.
There you go. It's a little picture to get an overview.
That's kind of neat.
Let's see. The Akantech artist. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. I almost wrote all of them correctly, too, in my notes. That's amazing.
Cool. So, all right. Well, you know what? I'll let you give it a go. Roll me, I guess, intellect and deception. Sal.
Okay, so 2d6 plus 1.
Unfortunately, you didn't talk to Como, because if you did, you could have taken his boon and tried to culturally touch down. But you're on your own here, bucko. Hey. I wouldn't say it's very easy to do this. So he's reluctant, and that he starts asking some more probing questions. What he is doing is something that you're probably familiar with, if not from your job as an SCI agent, maybe from like being part of another culture. Is he is trying to see if you know how the culture works.
That's clever.
Like he's like he starts asking like leading questions and trap questions of like, oh, where do you go, what do you eat, and everything. Like, what's your diet like? What's your favorite bar? Basic questions that he can trap you in on and figure out if you're lying or not.
So in our briefing on the way into the area,
Yeah.
we would have probably learned some of the major areas on the planet, right?
Yes.
Okay, and since my established lie was that I was a hunter from outside the city, I would generally know some of that topography.
Okay, education anthropology. As you try to formulate some in your head.
Okay, so
The funny part is you do have anthropology.
Yeah, which is good because I have Native 1 education.
Actually, no, that would be intellect anthropology because you're using anthropology as the source, but your intellect's kind of trying to weave it together.
Gosh.
Okay, so which skill set is anthropology under?
Social science.
Okay, so I have a +1 there.
Give it a go. 2d6.
Is there any way I could use like my scout background to add to that?
Not really. This isn't your culture. You could make a mistake and you wouldn't know.
Okay, so once again, 2d6 +1.
Go dice. I still like the combo. Roll the freaking 3. All right, you try and beck and weave around it. He's still skeptical. You can tell like by the squinting and the slight like tilting of the head, the fact that he's keeping his arms somewhat crossed, very closed body language, that he is still not 100% sure. However, you've talked enough to him that the very fact that you are talking to him and that you're not very commonality in your behavior. A lot of them are like just tourists. They're looking around, they're shaking hands, they're making friends. You are having a straight word conversation with them.
I'm never pausing to talk to my head thingy.
He would like to know like why you're walking up to him if you're supposedly from so far away that he would probably belong in the snow layer.
Well, I saw you handing out those flyers, and I was actually just curious. I don't come to the city often, so I want to know what's going on,
He gives you a very flat. These aren't really really for out of towners. So don't worry about that. The person you're talking to, by the way, is in Washa. Monkey Man. Again.
Monkey. Return to monkey.
Oi.
Well, you didn't. That's why you're in the city.
Oi. Be nice. Like I said, these aren't really for city folk. Out of towners, I mean.
Stuff with the points towards the robot, using him as a distraction. Those ones.
No, listen. I'm talking about like people who live too far away for this stuff, And he hand waves towards the people he just pointed at.
Yeah,
I'm talking about people with their feet on the political ground. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I never was much into politics out in the mountains. Well, I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm not exactly a fan of big government stepping in, If you know what I'm saying.
Well, if it was the commonality, then it was the World Council Union HQ or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I just want to come in and take it from the little guy.
No, that's not what I mean. They used to be 5 nations, 5 of them. We got to do our own things our own way, and now I gotta listen to some, the other kind and their little fancy ideas, all in my schools.
I mean, I hear you. There's some out in the mountains. They're putting laws on what I can hunt now.
What? You sure about that? I'm pretty sure that the Agatacs were given exemptions on a lot of stuff because no one's going out to the snow layer to check on anything.
Well, I went closer to the city. Now I'm out in the snow layers.
Oh,
no one cares
you're one
about
of the
snow
rain
layers.
layer people, are you?
I travel a lot. Family's always kind of nomadic. Usually rain layer, sometimes snow layer.
Been to the Agatac Sanctuary? Ever seen the Maymar statue. I heard they got one in the city.
Really? Where's the one in the city? I haven't seen it yet.
You been there at the city?
What was that? I didn't hear that one.
He's specifically asking if you've been to Inchaka, which is the main city in the Yakantak Sanctuary. He claims that there is a memorial for a person called Maymar there.
Okay, I need to figure out how to get around that because that could be a trap.
Because he's like, you know, that old Maymar. What a wacky guy, huh?
I never really got into many of the cities. My family didn't really trust government that much. Dad passed away 2 years ago, so really the only time I've been coming to cities recently.
Well, I heard you can get there by airstrip, and they got an airport right behind the starport too. So while you're there, you might as well take the detour.
Might as well. It would be cool to see. I've been wanting to see cities for my life. Dad just said government bad.
Well, there needs to be some kind of government, just not this one.
Hear you there.
You see,
Ismail, brother.
You see that building out in the water, by the way? The one that's connected with the big cable thing?
Yeah.
What's it called again? They call it some kind of enclave. I don't know what's up with that, but there's some weird people living in there. I don't think anyone would mind if that building sank. Well, anyway, if you're so interested in politics, here's a little refresher. And he hands you one of his flyers.
Heck yeah, I'll definitely give that a look through. And
it's about what you'd expect from, like, the kind of... Imagine if Al-Qaeda had, like, a PR department and it was written in such a way as to be socially acceptable in America. It's the kind of big slogan words, you know, the ones that make you feel like you should do something. Like, it's all about spurring you to action with talk of the bad things and the good things and the good old times and everything. It's propaganda.
For a second, I thought there would be a list of gang signs so you don't get shot.
It's not the Green Book. God, this plan is probably going to need a Green Book for commonality, people, if this goes any worse.
Well, I'm gonna...
What now? What do you do?
I'm gonna talk to him for a bit longer, and then I'm gonna try to extricate myself and not return to my companions directly. I'm not gonna do that in line of sight, because that would ruin my lies.
Marvelous. All right, Paulum, are you doing anything?
Not especially. I was very interested in the local culture, so the discussion between Komodo and our friend, the sunglass seller, was very interesting to me.
And you gain an extra forward.
Yeah.
At some point, you're going to have to find a place to stay, which is a fancy way of saying that your accommodations are not prearranged, necessarily.
Yes.
So, part of your business is going to be finding a place to put your head at night, although only one of you really needs to sleep. As they say.
I mean...
Well, so should we look
They
for...
wake up, the rest of the party just, like, stares at them.
Jesus.
As they sleep.
No. I would like to sleep too.
Well then, you're going to have to figure out where to stay. And since you are now, I assume you're leaving the building, because you've been to the starport for like an hour, and I might want to spend your whole day at the airport.
Hey, Como, I posted what you do all night.
Yes.
God dang it, Como.
What?
It's mean.
Just like an inch away from us all night.
So what do you do, and how do you meet up? Because I know that Zyla's still split off. How do you reconvene?
Well, I'm gonna keep an eye at a distance on them until they're out of sight of Mr. Anti-government man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, try to slip back in.
Nice. Also, we do have literal phones.
Zyla.
We can do that too. We actually do have phones, but I probably forget that sometimes.
Can I get a 2d6 from you? It's a luck roll. Because you're following your friends, like you're behind them and you're watching them. someone is walking up behind you, and he just walks alongside you for a moment, and he just gives you a little nudge, and this is another one of those. That's not a monkey man. It's I think would be like a Vry man. Rough and tumble kind of guy. Big beard. He's got a cap pulled over his head. He wears a very distinctive, shiny red jacket.
Oh no, he's a Bolshevik with a red jacket.
It's a big shiny leather jacket, maybe pleather. You'll have to ask him. But he nudges into you, and he asks you in a very polite tone. So, what you watching them for?
Keeping an eye on the SCI people, possibly figuring out what they are out of town,
He grabs the tip of his cap and points it up a little bit so he can look directly at you with his eye, like the corner of his eye, because he still keeps his head down. What did you just say? The what?
Been hearing them say it a lot.
Sounds familiar. Bad stuff. You think it's someone problematic?
Not sure. I think they're off. Well, they're definitely not from around here.
When did they arrive?
When did they arrive? Not sure. Probably pretty recently if they're still at the starport.
Any idea where they're going?
Not yet. That robot thingy he's been talking to.
How long have you been following them?
About 10, 15 minutes.
Guess you won't need to change your pace then. All right.
What are you watching them?
Okay, Electrofox, I want you to give me a streetwise roll.
Thank God I took that one.
With intellect. You know what? This goes the other way around. Give me social standing, but if it's negative, make it positive.
Okay, let me go.
Because you're trying to. Because this is a situation where being like a little scuffy helps you.
Yes, that's a +1. Because I have no social standing.
Your standing is poor. Well, add it all together and give me the 2d6 roll.
And what was the other one?
Streetwise, because
Streetwise.
you're I know that you're playing him up,
yes,
and I'm gonna see if he drops some information that's useful for you. That's good enough. He's not playing it too hard to get. I need to look up a very specific bit of information because I need to give you a name of a place.
Gosh.
I think it's not 14. It's not 9. Where is it? God damn it. There we go. He drops a name for you. Oh God, this is hilarious. What would he say to you? Since you're following these people, he tells you that once you got the deets, don't forget to head on over to Jumai's and drop it off. If these what do you call it again? SCIs or anything of trouble, they'll want to know.
Keep an eye on it, I say, making a mental note of that, and then remembering I have a computer in my head.
As you're following your friends, you can have Mindscape communications here, by the way, but do know that if anyone is like scanning for that kind of stuff, they can pick it up, and the fivers are not stupid. So
yeah, and that's one. It helps I keep forgetting I have it.
So this guy will eventually, when there's an organic turn in the road, break off. Like he follows the protocol for like non-suspicious, like quick meet up, and then whoosh, away again.
I've been inducted into a revolutionary group. It took me like an hour.
That's a new record.
I mean, you've made quite the impression. You've talked to one of their propagandists, and you didn't leave them on a bad note. You left the building and started following obvious commonality people. You kind of strike that impression, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
All right. Well, you got a name, Junmai. A place you can supposedly drop something off.
Can you imagine this guy shows up and like, in his headquarters and whatever, it's like, so what did you do today? Oh, I recruited 50 people or something. What about you? Well, I converted I swayed a politician. What did you do? I converted a fox femboy.
I'm a girl.
Fair enough. A fox girl.
Into a suicide cult.
It's like, oh,
And the fox, and then the fox is in the room. What'd you do today, Zyla? I managed to trick a suicide cult into thinking they converted me.
The guy who said this, like, oh man, that's pretty cool. What a coincidence.
They all converted me.
No. All right. Parliament Como, I presume that you've basically been like walking around trying to find out where the train station is and everything, how to get around public transport wise. You haven't rented a car or anything yet. What do? What's your plan? Are you going to find a hotel first, some establishments, see about local cuisine?
Probably yeah. Something without a leaking roof, potentially. So something like middle class, maybe.
Okay. Can you give me informatics mindscape? Either one of you can do this, and you can give me some intellect on top. Because so far you must take. Don't worry. Once you get into a fight, it'll start getting fuzzy. But for now, it's all thinky stuff, social stuff.
Makes sense.
So either one of you can roll that one for me. Informatics mindscape, because you're trying to navigate the internet properly.
I could do this one.
This is normally easy to do, but guess what? You're on a planet where fucking internet's not exactly working as good as it should. So good luck.
Yes. Sorry, my eyes are going cross. Which skills would be the relevant ones?
It was informatics mindscape, but I think that Pollum is like a +5 in that because he's like the internet guy.
Yes, I've got 5 in Mindscape and 1 in intellect, so +6.
Why did I even make you roll?
So it's still a 9.
You
can roll a 1 and still get a 7. Good job.
Yes.
Using your basic brain stuff. Let's see. There is the Amity Hotel. Basic accommodations, apparently visited by commonality and Arcadians, which you can tell. You know, it's got that like mixed with the local culture. It's got that clear tourist hotel vibe. What the hell is this? Oh, this is interesting. There is the Cosmo Quarter Domicilaria, which is a short-term self-catering accommodation in the Cosmo Quarter, where you rub shoulders with commonality workers and Okinidian functionaries. Offers privacy and government contacts. You find the Contown Hotel. Not very private, but fairly anonymous. It's an easy move from place to place. Basically, you're moving from small hotels that are located in Contown for tourists. Disconnects you from the society, though. You could stay under ship, but no, customs. It's annoying. A few options that are more local. I mean, you could stay at the embassy. Technically, you're allowed to do that since you're out-of-towners. It's not a great idea if you're trying to be covert, though. You find 2.
Yes.
First, there is the Amity Hostel. As I mentioned, basic. You know, this is the blendy one. And then there's the Old Seppi Rooming House. This is like... It's built around a hot spring, which you would know is kind of this local thing. Hot springs are like a big deal. By the way, I would like to point out that you were in a subtropic environment. It's hot. If you care about temperature, it's like, whew, pretty steamy. Here we go. So, the Old Seppi Rooming House has this distinct flavor. It definitely doesn't seem to cater to out-of-towners. Most of the pictures don't feature any commonality kind of people. Definitely has a lot of local culture going on. Great way to stay in contact with the local culture, though. Downside is you're getting that, shall we say, hood kind of vibe. You know, this is a place where the cops might not intervene if something goes awry. You know, fisticuffs solve the problems.
Okay, well, what do you think, Kumo? I like the second one with the spa.
I mean, it doesn't matter as much for me, so the only person who actually needs to sleep should probably pick, but yeah.
Downside is, of course, the more you're going for something that's in touch with the local culture, the more likely they are to have either 5 support, 5 sympathizers, or otherwise. Don't forget that.
Yes, but we are not aware that we've been... well...
I'm just saying that.
That you don't know you've been followed by me.
Exactly.
And apparently other people.
So, naively, I will go... I will prefer to go to the...
Old Seppi Rooming House or Amity Hotel?
The second one with more colorful people.
The one... Oh, you mean... the Amity Hostel is the one that's like for people out of town and people from the planet. You know, the mixture. And the Old Seppi Rooming House is the one that's like traditional Colombian accommodation with the bath and everything. Because bars here have hot springs.
Yes. Oh, my approach is basically to try to not blend in, but assimilate, discover the way of thinking. So I can't pronounce that name. So the second one with the
Old Seppi Rooming House. All right.
Not the Colombian one.
Oh, the Amity Hotel. Hostel. All right. A
The
nice.
hostels usually shared rooms.
Nah, that's fine.
Look, I can just stand in the corner. It's fine.
You take care of some basic. Oh, this is why this check is also hard. Take a fucking. Oh man, none of this is up to code. These are all like websites made by people who barely understand how the Mindscape works.
Look,
Imagine-
it's Web 1.0.
Imagine if you were born like 10 years ago and you're expected to go to a 1993 website. It's like, what?
I did that in Web Design. It was hilarious.
Like, you should be glad that you have 5 in Mindscaping, or this would be like painful. As you basically pay for it 3 times before you figure out how the ticket works. All right, you have yourself set up. You got a nice, lovely hostel taken care of. It's apparently located on the edge of town, so you got the forests available to look at near the Friendship Park. Great place. Basic accommodations, but it's like a place you sleep more than a place that you stay. All right, what do you want to do now? Because you've technically taken care of this. You could just walk in there and handle your Mindscape authorization, because this is a place where they've already integrated that into the system.
You can plug yourself in. Yeah, that makes sense. Can you imagine this whole like conspiracy started because of the basically 5G towers kind of style thing?
I mean, yes, that didn't help.
I mean, yeah.
Well, we should try to go to
Oh,
contact.
that reminds me of a stupid story. Somebody put up a 5G tower, and then all the locals started complaining and sending like, I'm getting headaches. This is like interfering with my sleep. My plans died. Blah blah blah. And then the official answer was, wait till we actually turn it on.
God, I had one of those that was I think in like Sweden where they put a 5G tower up, and someone was complaining about their electromagnetic radiation sensitivity to a doctor, and the doctor's like, "Don't worry about it. My office is sealed so that there's no EMF in here." And the person's like, "Oh, I feel so much better. Oh wait, let me take a phone call."
That's funny.
All right. Well, the day's the day.
Yes.
Probably like afternoonish. So, is there anything you would like to do, or are you just gonna head on over to your hostel and get settled in for the night?
Well, for the night, I suppose. But excuse me, when we do settle for the night, I'm just gonna watch the local news and whatnot to scout out essentially the.
So,
I don't even know the.
if imagine that you're walking the streets while you do this, absorb the local culture.
Yes.
Eventually, you leave Comtown and you walk into the older parts where we're just gonna say there's plot convenient store with TVs in the windows.
I mean, I assume a hotel room would have one.
Dun, 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 dun. It's plot news for all you convenient info dumps.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, it's like where's Yaparis? It's like he's stuck in the rain in front of a TV, thing.
Look at this. There's moving pictures.
Yes.
His big snoot like all crumpled up against it.
Yes.
Como, I think you roll me a 1d3 because I want to see which of the Infonet media channels you're watching right now.
Just 1d3, okay. Oops, hold on, wrong tab. Second one.
You are watching the Pro Commonality Network.
Oh gosh.
On this particular set of TVs.
Fair enough, makes sense.
Currently, there is the Alpha Node is having a lovely segment on the local wildlife and on plants. It's like like a National Geographic kind of thing. It also mentions that soon, apparently, the Alpha Node is going to have a special interview with a special someone. It's being all secretive about it. It's like, we're gonna bridge some gaps with an interview with an expert on the whole situation. Woo!
It's Justin Bieber.
Hey, he's still alive?
He's eternal.
I mean, technical longevity's been invented, so yes, if they get to him, they might keep him around for that long.
He is into Mindscape.
Anyway, since they're in a room,
what are you
the
doing?
Room is
no, they're standing in front. They're standing in front of a storefront, looking at a TV. What are you doing?
Oh, I thought they were going to get a room.
What they have on the internet.
Yeah.
Which I'm not using because I don't want to give while I'm out in public because I don't want to possibly get scammed. Great.
Oh well. At the very least, you won't be out of money when you leave the planet because you don't need it anymore.
Well, I'm going to look around the area a bit more and just keep an eye on them until they fucking go inside the room.
Can you imagine being a trader who shows up, and you land on the planet, and this commonality fucker walks up to you and says, "Here's a stack of money. For the love of God, give it to them when they give you something. Don't just give them stuff for free."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What are you talking about?" Like, please just give them the money. I have to say this every day so many times.
That's silly.
It's the same bundle of cash that goes back and forth every day.
Well, yeah, that's why gifts of money between family members are dumb.
All right, Salah, what are you taking care of as you're trying to pretend to be someone else?
Well, I'm gonna just go and look around the other places where I can keep an eye on them.
You discover
See
that
if there's anything of interest.
so you're close to them enough that you could probably like instantly go bleep bleep if you have to. Kind of like the operational range of a kilometer or two before it starts to become problematic. All right. God, no, I'm looking for a map. That's what I'm looking for. All right, let's go to Friendship Square because that's basically where you are.
Such a good name.
Yeah, it's a
Probably
great
run down as shit.
I mean, it was actually made before the commonality showed up. It's supposed to be like, because you quickly learn that there's like signs for everything, and the signs point out that there's embassies for all the 5 nations around this area, as well as the commonality one. The commonality is actually number 10. Directly next to it is a place called what's it called again? I know that it's called. Oh gosh, here we go. Junmai Gifts and Toys. The Emporium of Tourist Tat and Imported Paraphernalia. I don't know what's on the map, but it sure is there. Number 5 is the local Colombian government. Colombiani. Fuck it. Number 6 to 9 are local, like, okay, so 5 to 9 are all like the nation governments. 10 is the embassy of the people. 19 is the World Unity HQ, which, as you can see, is directly adjacent. And 17, I think, is the Commonality Monument.
Well, we can't actually see.
Excuse me, I forgot that I need to turn on the lights. Allow me to flick my finger, and so you can see. There you go.
Yay!
There you go. 17 is the Friendship Monument, which depicts the typical of rediscovered worlds. It depicts 2 noble and transcendent-looking humans or hominids, one of whom may be synthetic, together with 1 Noasha, 1 Okadian human, and 1 Akatak, in heroic pose pointing to the sky and looking optimistically to the futures. There's almost always an Olsec nearby. Sala, is there any particular place you would visit, or are you just roaming? In which case, you make a luck check to see what you stumble across.
I'm roaming.
I'd like to point out that I really do love that they actually gave the train stations names.
I got a 10.
10.
Zella, please don't end up in like a stray dog bus or something.
Guys, I ended up in New Jersey. The communication took 30 years to get to you from Earth.
Oh.
I mean, you say that, but I think part of the lore is that they did in fact get an old Earth communication at some point in some capacity. You walk past number 11, which is apparently some sort of luxury flyer hire. Nice. This guy sells oh wow, graph flyers. Weird. Don't see those around here too much. Everyone around here seems to like, what's it called again? The little propeller things. They make a lot of noise.
Ornithopters?
Yeah, I think that's actually what they are.
Oh.
No.
No, ornithopters specifically a thing that flaps actual, like, wings.
Yeah.
They are called rotaries. Nice!
Ornithopter.
They have rotary turbines. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this adorable man.
Because if it's just a fan thing that you might be thinking about, it could be this one, which are really neat. Because the only propeller that's powered is the one in the back.
So the atmosphere here is very thick. So
yes.
propellers.
Well, yeah,
very,
it is.
good.
It is 1.3 of Earth's gravity, so it would be thicker.
So yeah, it's also because the crater kind of scoops it together.
Yeah.
Marvelous. All right.
Zala's character must be in a incredibly good physical form to be roaming.
Zala, you roam across the streets, and come across an unpleasant sight.
Oh no.
Backed up against the wall is what you are forced to assume is some sort of teen. He looks young. He's got the young features, the smooth face, the not quite fully grown in facial hair, the works. He's down an alleyway where you're standing on the main road. You know, it's a bit shadier there than here, and it's already pretty dark. Next to him, however, stands this, let's call him Chunky. It's an officer of the law. He's got the little symbol of OLSEC on his arm patch. You can see it from there. This guy has a non-insubstantial firearm in his hands as the guys against the boys against the wall, hands on the wall, arms wide, legs wide, in this kind of posture. And when you look, you see in the distance, the other side of the alleyway, like two officers whoop, rounding the corner, in full pursuit of something, judging by their speed. The officer isn't aiming his gun at the guy, but he is like keeping him under check and seems to be barking orders, judging by the sounds you're hearing. Is this something you wish to engage with?
It's something I wish to figure out what the hell's going on about, because there's a lot of cops. It could be dangerous for people.
But how will you gain information?
Good question.
Let's see.
How about you give it a moment? Come on. You and Palmer are still delightfully standing in front of this TV. When a guy walks up to you, he's like, "Oh man, look at all this bullshit." He's looking at the nature documentary, by the way, and he's complaining.
Wait, there is a nature documentary, and he's complaining about that.
Yeah, you were looking at a nature documentary that's for common people who's like, "Look at all this stupid bullshit."
Why is it stupid? It's animals.
That's just stupid trees. Who cares about stupid trees? You care about trees? Why don't you go out there?
I'm made out of metal, so a little bit. What should I care about?
Why don't you go meet some sassy old lady out in the woods to tell you how to cast a spell if you care so much about the stupid... When I go home, what I want is a nice cooling system and a nice warm drink. I don't want no animals crawling in my pants.
Wait, hold on. So, he wants to be cool, but he wants to be hot. A warm drink with a AC on. That makes sense, I guess.
You out of town is your business.
Yeah. Yes, actually, we just arrived like an hour ago. I look at my hand. There's no wristwatch there, but I just look at it as like an hour ago.
It's the universal symbol.
Yes, it is the
works
universal
no matter where you are.
Yeah, except, well, I mean, they thought that about the save icon in applications, but now apparently it's like, oh, why is there a vending machine with a purchased drink? And
he walks up to you and he kind of taps your head, because this is not uncommon. Some people are like still struggling with the idea that robots can be people, to the point that they're like, oh, I can touch you, right? You know, like how a lot of people think it's perfectly fine to touch black people hair, because oh, look, it's so fluffy.
People touch my hair all the goddamn time.
It's so curly. Isn't that
You've
goofy?
seen my hair, Safi.
I know, Zyla. They want to touch it, and they think it's fine, because, you know...
Everyone thinks I should be the sheep, but that's Ringo.
But that's basically what happens, He kind of, like, taps your... Yeah, and goes, so you even have TVs? You even buy flat screens anymore? Or is it all just thinking?
Did I do this?
So fucking basics. As you grab him, he starts like struggling. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Well, I mean, if he touches me, I'm going to touch him exactly the same way.
Unfortunately, Como, you have made the ancient Chinese mistake of thinking that people that are assholes are don't have double standards.
That's fine.
He starts flailing his arms around, saying, perhaps I'm being assaulted by all them industrial boys.
Industrial boys. I'm sorry, I accidentally confused you for a crate.
A lot of people turn their heads towards you. It's not like people are charging you or anything, but a lot of people are like, what's going on?
Hat pats.
Paul, do you have anything to add to the situation, or just come let this play out?
Well, yes, I suppose.
I have a question for you, Saf, real quick.
What is it?
I was looking at my career, and it says you get +1 to social sciences and SOC. What the hell is SOC?
SOC is an abbreviation for social standing. In case you see weird abbreviations, I'd like to point out that on your core tab, it just says, whoops, that's a thing I need to keep track of. But yes, SOC is your social standing characteristic or ability score. This game does not, by the way, you only have one mental stat. Education is separate from that, and social standing is separate from that. But they can be used in similar ways.
Those are things they can change just by you doing stuff.
Yep. All right, come on.
Yes.
This man is starting to throw a fuss. Is there anything you want to do about this, or are you gonna see where this goes?
Probably should leave. This is getting awkward. Never works. Everybody pats me. I can't pat anyone. This is so sad.
Como.
Yes.
The guy's following you. Like he's like idly walking by and going, "This is whiz guy." He's making a big fuss. He's trying to get attention to this.
Oh my god.
You
Fine.
you have to do something, or he's just gonna keep going.
I have a perfect thing for this.
You could run away. You could give him a honk on the snoot.
Okay, can I? I mean, no, I'm not gonna actually assault a person on the first day on the planet anyway. Gosh, hold on, let me check something.
The guns come out on day 2.
Guns, yeah, exactly. I don't kill anyone on the first date.
All right, what do you do?
How heavy is Poland?
But I can check, I suppose.
I'd say you can lift up Poland if you have if you have a positive strength modifier, you can generally lift a person. Yes.
I do have a positive strength modifier.
Do you have? Oh, you have strength too. Okay, if you have athletic strength, then I say you can lift Poland with ease. Yes.
Yes. I'd like to think so.
You have the muscle.
Are you going to throw a dog at him?
Fastball special.
I'm not gonna throw a dog. I'm just going to like make an escape with it. How fast can I run?
Oh God. All right. You run away.
Look, I have good stealth. I can hide from him.
So, Paul, you como enchilada picks you up.
Yapitus.
Yapity picks you up, and you just are booking off to the sunset. Ah, what a delight! What a delight!
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would have thrown all of them on the first date. Look, if they ask me, I will throw. Absolutely, I would love to chuck them, but there's this thing called consent.
So I would like kindly ask Como in Mindscape what the hell is he doing?
I'm saving us from an uncouth individual.
From a drunkard. Okay.
The moment we lose them, I'm gonna set them down on the ground. Gonna apologize. Sorry.
Sala, you
Yes.
were dealing. You were doing what with the situation? You had some time to think.
Okay, so
To repeat,
I don't feel like getting directly involved with the officer is a good idea because it seems like he's arresting somebody. It's probably bad.
He's like tapping his nightstick, basically. A big gun on his back.
But can I use my brain thingy to like passively try to pick up on communications from those officers going by that we're pursuing?
Sila, if only you had Paulin with you, because that's his field of expertise. Oh, if you can make me... Okay, you know what? Education in Mindscape, give it a go. See where you get up, where you end up.
Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, you're not a hacker man. Maybe you should have your hacker friends here for that one.
Yeah, but they were busy not going to a place where I wanted to join up with
You
them.
can't listen. You can't listen in on the conversation. Although to be fair, you mentioned that this officer isn't saying anything too exciting anyway.
Okay. So I guess I have to go and deal with the officer directly.
All right. What happens? What do I see? My mind's eye.
Okay, so I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna try to act concerned about what's going on, and just ask him what's happening because I just saw cops go by and want to know if there's any danger.
You're close enough that you can start to pick up some details on what this guy looks like. Wearing thick blue armor with a grey trim, the old-sex security traditional police force might look more civilian than the riot police. Still has a distinct combat readiness about them. The kid has like a red armband, but otherwise seems to be wearing mostly clothes of the people. It kind of fits in with the rest of them. Not too fancy stuff. The officer turns his head over towards you. This armor doesn't have like a mask. Like you can see his face. The riot police does have a mask. These guys do not. Just in case you ever need to, that becomes relevant. It turns over to you, looks you over. Okay, this is The question is, since you've been trying to pass as a local, is that going to fly right now? It's a great question. Are you trying to right now, Zyla, to pass as commonality or as the people that you claim to be?
Is there anyone else nearby?
It's just you, the kid, and this alleyway. I mean, there's like people walking next to the alleyway entrance and exit, but they're not
Well, if no
necessarily
one's looking in our direction, I can try to go with commonality, so I can act more surprised like a tourist.
If you try to act surprised like a tourist, then what you're gonna get is that the cop, like he holds the nightstick and he's like slapping the tip into his other hands, which he grabs the tip so that he doesn't accidentally do anything. So he looks a bit more calm and relaxed, even though he's tenser in a sense. And gives you the polite answer through the mindscape. He's like opening communication channel, and he gained an extra class spy. He gives you the long and short of it, like, just making a normal arrest. People breaking what's it called? What's it called again when you're loud and obnoxious? Breaking the peace.
Disrupting the peace.
Disrupting the peace. That's what you get. You get that really cordial, like, don't worry about it, citizen. Just disrupting the peace. Don't waste your time in this dingy alleyway.
Well, I just saw officers chasing after somebody. Is something big happening?
The kid looks down to the ground and looks over, and he knows that you're like communicating through the mindscape. Like, he gives you that quick squint, because otherwise you would have said anything by now. And he just goes, I didn't do nothing. This guy's just an asshat. And the officer, like, you hear the creak of the nightstick getting clenched a little tighter.
Uh-oh.
Now, officer, I know I'm not from around here, but, kids do stupid stuff. I did stupid stuff, and, well, okay, I'm not going to talk about my childhood. It wasn't exactly fun. But, kids do stupid crap. Think we can just let them off with a warning?
This guy has a very tough decision ahead of him right now. Which you would know, as an SCI force. Local security... Okay, this is going to get real complicated because there's so much going on. I just remembered. Oh, fuck. The report does mention this, and I don't know how smart you are, but let me try and lay it out to you how hard this is for this poor man.
I'm kind of smart.
He is local security, and the commonality deserves special attention because you technically could crash the alpha node into the planet and like kill all life here if you wanted to. So, there's that in his brain. He has an implant, so you could probably just kill him. But with telepathy, if you want it. So
if I was one of the people who could.
So
I can do that with electricity.
But there's also the part where like most officers are more likely to be Fiverr sympathizers because that's how cops tend to pan out. They tend to be local. In addition, the commonality security force will eventually consume it, and he probably knows that. So he's very conflicted about whatever he wants to humor this stupid tourist, and you can tell that because he starts to grit his teeth a bit and he squints. It's all subtle gestures, but you can tell you've got enough recon. You can pick up on those tiny things on his face.
I do have good recon.
As he gets a little frustrated about the situation. I mean, as a hunter, you would probably know because you're aware of like animals getting a little aggressive. And you've got animal training, so you can tell the more primal response that he's having. I don't know what he's going to do, so I'm just going to see what a dice roll says.
Oh gosh.
Okay,
please don't take a swing at me.
He's going to respond. He's going to respond calmly. He gives you the answer that this child has committed more than just a minor disruption, and that he's going to have to come to the station for. And then he pauses unnaturally long. That's not just me, and tells you that it's just going to be a warning.
Just a warning, you're sure? Because I don't like seeing
his eyes dart to the kid on the wall. You see his hand like slightly twist on the nightstick's tip and goes, yes, just a warning. He'll be out home by the evening.
Then I don't think that nightstick out is very important to get someone half your size now, is it?
He gives a very forced chuckle. You can practically hear his vocal cords grate as he.
It's an emotional support nightstick.
He's allowed to come with me
that's
when
what
I'm
the Phelps
tired.
used them for.
Look, this is a tick that he has. He just does the sidle animation thing. Like every 5. Can you imagine? He just walks anywhere, stands for like 5 seconds. He's immediately. It's a nightstick animation.
He walks around like Gordon Freeman with the crowbar
Yeah, exactly.
above his head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, works.
It's my emotional support.
It's an emotional support nightstick. I have to hold it, otherwise I get anxious.
Oh, he gives you the. Oh, what do you say again? I need to.
What?
What did Zyla say again? What's the second
I
step?
told him I don't think it's exactly necessary to have the nightstick for someone half your size.
He gives you the answer that he might try to run away. You know, it's dissuasive force. What? Gosh, there's a term for this in the book somewhere, like equivocal measures or something like that. That's basically what he gives you. He tries to sound like he knows commonality jargon. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Dissuasive measures. He's employing dissuasive measures. It's fine.
Okay, how about I walk with you to the station then? The two of us, he wouldn't try to run away.
Since you're still technical telepathy, he starts to tell you with citizen,
Wait,
it's
if
really
they're
not.
communicating.
You're really not supposed to intervene with police procedure like that. This is just. If you're that worried about him, you can. And then the kid, of course, who doesn't know what the fuck's going on. These communications, by the way, are fast. I would like to point out that if you want to in the Mindscape, you can have like a whole conversation in seconds. If you want to. Wouldn't recommend it. It's a bit dizzying. But you have this conversation. The kid's like, come on, man. And then eventually you see at the other side of the alleyway, you see the other cops come back. They're dragging another one of these kids with them. This one looks a bit older. He's actually got like a scruffy beard. Both officers,
the kid
by the
hasn't
way.
learned how to shave yet.
The officer you're with turns around, turns his back to you so they can see the other guys, waves over, and then he goes to reach and grab the kid that he's with, and he signals to the other guys to start moving already. They leave the alley soon afterwards, but he is now grabbing this kid by the scruff of the neck.
I'm gonna speak verbally this time. So, officer, you told me that he only committed disrupting the peace a minute ago. What else happened that you're not telling me?
The kid goes, disrupt. I thought it was charged terrorism, and the cop has him by the neck, and he's like, of course, the kid's like squirming, like going, man. He puts his weight into it. You can tell like his body rears back, and then he throws this kid half his size onto the ground. You are not in the fancy compound section. These are like stones where if you hit it hard enough, you might like get like a good either like road rash or like a proper bleeding wound. The kid tumbles to it. He's clothed, of course. It's not like he's torn open on the spot, but you can definitely feel the pain of the impact. This frustrated man is no longer just squeezing his nightstick. He's heaving it over his head and brings it down.
I'm gonna try to do some fancy stopping that.
Mind if I ask how you intend to do this?
How I intend to?
What do you do?
Okay. So he does that whole like dramatic pullback. Just step in and grab onto his wrist and hold it up so he doesn't have a chance to push it down.
Okay, this is the question. How tough are you? How strong are you?
I've got +1 in strength and some skills and
athletic strength is the one that matters. Sure. Give me a roll of that.
For some reason I have 0 in athletics.
No, that's generally speaking. You want the specialty. Like athletics has dexterity, endurance, and strength as separate subtypes.
Okay, so I have +2 in strength.
Yes, so you add that to your normal strength modifier. Oh gosh, you actually did it. You firmly grab his wrist, and now, if I was the kind of game master who would be like, oh well, he knows things. This is a person who's lost his temper, and you are in his mind just civilian who has been interfering. He's already frustrated. He's already angry. You know that he's angry because he sounds angry earlier, and now you stopped him. Gosh, what's he gonna? Oh. There's so many ways this guy could respond to the situation that are just not conducive to a good, proper report at the end of the day. You know what? As you grab his hand, he tries to wrench it free, not to hit anyone, but like to just free himself. Will you let him?
No.
Okay.
In fact, can I do something to try to add a bonus to intimidate?
What are you doing?
My other hand, I want to make it start sparking and tell him to stand down.
Okay, from his current position, you can't really see what you're doing back there. Like, he hasn't turned around or anything yet, so he doesn't know what you're doing.
Oh, he hasn't turned around. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to let him pull it back. Just be like, okay, let go.
The kid, by the way, is like, when he sees this opportunity, like, scrambles up to his feet and is like starting to scoot around. The officer suddenly yells at you, like, let him go. You're helping a prisoner. That's not the proper term. You're helping a suspect escape.
Suspect. You point at the kid too. Hey, I need to talk to you too.
This whole situation's getting very confusing, and that kid's running away full speed, and he's terrified out of his mind to some extent. So, let me put this as blunt as I can. The officer is trying to turn around now, and he's no longer using his implant. He's just yelling at you that you might think that you common alley people can get away with stuff, but you are getting in the way of the law.
I'm going to take a step back so I'm out of melee. And I'm going to get back at him. What the hell did the kid do?
Okay, Zala. It's not good. He asks you to give him one good reason. 1, to not take you into the station. 2, for assaulting an officer.
Technically, I never assaulted you. I never hurt you.
You did grab him. And police are police. Especially when they're already frustrated with a lot of things.
Yes.
What's our official title since we're actually doing a job here?
I think the best title you can have is SCI agent.
Do you have like a little flip out like
Oh God, no, you
thing?
don't.
Oh, that's sad.
For the most part, SCI agents don't even have to identify themselves to anyone but individuals with mindscape implants anyway, since, you know, you're a commonality instrument that's not necessarily supposed to be too public.
Can I use that as a way to try to shut him down a bit?
I do want to point out that flashing your badge is considered a social escalation. I sure want to do this. It has costs and consequences to start flashing your badges at people. Just saying. Also, some people at the edge of the alleyway are like turning to this conversation because this guy just started yelling.
I was gonna get an earful.
This one.
Please just don't kill him or something.
Pollen,
I'm trying to think of ways not to.
As you've decided to start running around, you're now in a random alleyway and you've kind of lost yourself.
Oh gosh.
They're in this alleyway.
In the same alleyway.
That'd be too much of a coincidence. However, you are in the kind of alleyway where, let's just say it's one of those cultural alleyways where people have like little shopping stalls and fun stuff, where old ladies cook big pots of soup, you know.
Man, I wish I was a real boy so I could
Where
eat
people
real
sell
soup.
knickknacks.
Wonder what Zyla's doing. Zyla's beating up a cop. I'm like, fuck.
I'm not a standoff like an officer of the law.
Send him a text message, Sal, do you want a bowl of soup?
Do you want a bowl of soup? It's like, yeah, once I'm done with this guy. What guy? Sends a
I just
picture
sent
of
you like a
a
live stream.
like
suddenly.
a corpse on the ground of a cop. It's like,
Oh, sorry, which guy?
gosh.
Well, the two of you, what do? You've been around a bit. You got arrested by a man who grabbed your face.
Yes.
He called you a squint.
Yes.
That sounds like many things that are racist.
Yes. This is me to Zyla. It makes sense. I have to manage 2 dogs basically.
I love that dog.
I came here as a tourist with my 2 puppies to show them the around, and they got the first day they got into a fight, and I got into a fight. I keep getting into fights. It's weird.
If I got a cent for each time it happened, I'd have like 10 cents. It's weird that it happened 10 times.
Which is weird that it happened 10 times. Yes, exactly. Oh gosh, I'm gonna pull him on the ground now. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello.
Colum, you finally have ground under your feet. Isn't that nice? Oh, you're suddenly reminded that you're quite heavy under this gravity. Woof.
Yes.
Don't make me fall back on 4 legs, please.
Oh,
Wait, on 4 legs?
Polum is partially bipedal, so he can
Yeah.
move on 4 legs if he wants to.
Okay, fair enough. I pick them up again, I turn them 90 degrees, and I put them down again.
Here's what you get, Como.
From what?
From trying to message Zyla.
Zyla, yeah, that makes sense.
So, Fox unavailable.
Yes.
Como, as you do this weird thing with pollen.
Yes.
Well, a lady behind one of the counts is like, oh, look at that.
Look at what?
Well, you turned him 90 degrees. How does that work?
Geometry.
Oh, dear. How does that work with you people? You can turn 90 degrees.
How many degrees do you need?
I'm just how many degrees do you need to be turned at?
Back in my day, we had 45 degrees, and we were happy about it.
Well, you see, dear, in my days we had two kinds. We stood up and we lie down. We never sat on our bellies like that.
I'm going to try to stand up as dignified as possible.
Here. I mean, I have half the mind to do this.
No.
I know that he's an organic robot, but that doesn't mean you can't snap a spine. Oh. Would you like some soup, Diz? Or are you just naturally that skinny?
I don't think I can eat. Can I eat things?
If you want to.
I assume I don't have to.
If you want to, you can have it. Just subtract.
Does it go into like a little bag that I can just empty out later?
It's however you want it.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I cannot drink people, I think. That was the joke when we were making the character. So yeah, there is probably some sort of container I can put food into.
I think the pollen, by the way, has like enhanced. It's like super smell or something. Yes, he has enhanced smell.
They're super stinky?
No, they can just sniff good.
They're not a ferret.
Smelly. Pollen would actually be able to figure out what the soup is actually made of by just standing here and taking a few sniffs.
Then they realize what the soup is made of, huh?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Steffi knows the joke.
So
I'm actually looking it up, sorry. I recall it's mostly like grains and there's like some meats in there sometimes, but oh gosh.
it's soup.
The soupa. Let me look it up. I can find this. There you go, grains. Crop plants, including grains and fruit. There we go. R&R. I did see it. Okay, Canadian food includes beef, mutton, and farmed fish, more real and primitive than many commonality citizens are used to. So this meal would be more meaty than you're used to. It also contains like bits of fruit, maybe peanuts, nuts. It's very varied dish, very like more practical than aesthetically oriented. A worker's meal.
Well, that sounds interesting.
To put it specifically, this would be qualified as an aspect. This module is made for Fate, and it says assume challenging native cuisine situation aspects.
When challenging, it's like, oh, this is like the spiciest pepper in the thing. I just eat it.
Which basically means that the GM can give you like a brownie point if you decide to accept the fact that the food's weird.
The food is weird. Dude, I moved to another city and the food is weird. Imagine moving half across the galaxy.
Imagine her like chopping
I've
up a
moved
fish.
across the planet and it gets even weirder.
Imagine she puts in she chops up a fish and puts in the head and the tail and the rest she hangs up to dry.
I mean, that's like going to. I think I've read someone's story. Basically, they went to one of those restaurants where they cook the food right in front of you. I think it was like Chinese or Japanese or something. Anyway, they cook this chicken, right? And they start cutting off the skin, right? And you're like, oh shit, they're worried about my calorie intake and my consergens and everything. And then they fucking throw away the whole chicken and put the burnt skin on your plate.
Dude, you go to like a Beijing duck place, they will take all the pieces of that duck apart and just serve all of it. It's amazing.
I miss even bones.
Sometimes. The bones.
You can make both.
Can be put to a broth.
Come on. Is there anything you wish to do with this lady who has the kind of vibe
if
of
she's
like...
offering me soup, I'll accept the soup. This seems polite. And I'm pragmatic. I'd rather make connections with an old lady that knows things.
Well, since you're both robots, you automatically succeed on endurance checks. I want to make you roll just for the kick of it, but
I mean, I rolled because I like rolling. Let's do that. What do I roll?
Endurance. That includes your endurance athletics.
Endurance and athletics. So that would be. Hold on. It's going to be.
To see if this soup is like something that you're expecting or not.
So my endurance is +2. My endurance specifically in athletics is 0, so it's going to be 2 plus.
2d6 plus 2?
Yep. 2 plus 2d6. Bam!
Como.
Yapetus.
Yapetus. Good old Jappy. Knows how to.
Or if you want to be cheeky, you can say Iapetus. It depends on whether one.
Good old Yappy is able to keep it down somewhat well enough, but Pollen is just surprised. The problem is not the taste. The problem is the texture of meat that is like boiled down to slush.
It's British.
Here's here's the
Is
thing
this
about
broccoli? You would like poke out the broccoli and just turns to slurry.
Here's the thing about Polem's character that can work into it. They don't handle spicy stuff very good because they can smell very well. And so spicy things make them confused a little.
The fish eyes is where the spice lives.
Yes. Spice is stored in the balls.
The lady gets a chuckle out of the fact that Pollen is like confused about what he just ate.
Also, is it he or she? I think it was a she, right? She.
Oh no, Pollen?
Yes.
I mean, Pollen is a robot. They can be whatever they want. I mean, to be fair, anyone in the commonality can be whatever they want.
Florence, I think originally was a lady.
Yes. Let's.
Okay.
So the lady with the spoon, who's like serving you soup, like pokes you in the gun. I should know robots like you know how to handle this stuff.
That's funny.
Most out-of-towners, they take a sip, and the first thing they wonder is why it's so damn spicy. And I tell them it's because of the fish eyes. She points and pokes at her own like eye in the process of that.
Wait, is she a fish person? Who is she, by the way? Out of all the people,
she seems to be humanoid, like a normal human. Although she's kind of short and like bent over.
Huh. Fair enough. Well, that old age will do that to you. Can you imagine? I might actually. I have a chance of actually being older than her.
Oh, you're a robot, right? She takes out this very old-looking phone. Like even for the planet, this is like a chunky phone. And she like
Nokia
slams her hand on the buttons and goes like, "Can you hear my mobile phone?"
I mean, I probably get that. You know how you get on the speakers that thing from the phones.
The feedback.
The feedback. Yes, it's like yes, I can actually hear it.
I'm posting exactly what phone she is taking.
She puts the phone to her ear and she said like, "Hello, am I speaking to a robot?"
Yeah, well, I mean, can you imagine the phone actually responds?
Their eyes go wide. Wow. I mean, I imagine that's difficult to do, but for the sake of this being a silly like little gag, sure, go for it. Her phone's not that sophisticated. You could probably like spoof a signal into it.
Probably, yeah. It's like, hello.
Wow.
This is nice. See, this is the kind of character interactions
she pokes
I love.
At your face with her spoon and goes like, "Where's the microphone you're talking into?"
It's in my head. Like I speak with my mind, and I do this like, you know.
She's still painting soup over you with every time she hits you with the spoon.
That's fair enough.
Also, I have given what kind of phone she pulled out. The exact phone. It still works.
Show me.
It looks really big because she's small.
Yes.
She pulled out the classic Nokia.
I used to have this exact phone, but with like
Everyone
white color. Yeah, until like last month.
Also, I would like to point out that due to the fact that there's a lot of oxygen in the air, the way she heats her thing is with an induction plate, but there's still like little sparks of fire coming from besides it because a lot of oxygen. I say that's how it works because that makes for a fun visual.
That makes sense.
It gives this alien feel. But she eventually pulls her soup thing back after she's left like multiple spots on your stomach, your face, and your cheek.
That's fair enough. Would it be reasonable to assume that I'm actually wearing the clothing from the picture, from the token? I mean,
sure.
I would probably then carry some sort of like a napkin or something, so I could at least wipe myself off.
She wants to know why you're dressed so warm.
Well, temperature doesn't really affect me, but it does usually.
Are you sure? You look like you're sweating.
Can robots sweat? Oh yeah, the soup. I'm gonna ask if she has like a rag or something that she cleans the table with. I'll just wipe myself off.
She snatches a rag off her counter and hucks it at your face. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm not really bothered by the temperature. I think.
Think...
How high of a temperature can I withstand? Really?
Probably higher than organics can, but you still don't want to be in a too hot a place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My sensitive bits.
Why you dress so hot? There's an awkward pause, like the fans are spinning off, like a laptop. Yes, Zali's starting a revolution. Meanwhile, we're talking with an old lady. That's giving us soup.
The old lady.
Like, as long as you don't hurt the soup economy, this lady's gonna be fine.
I know you might think this old lady's very comfortable. First off, I'm not afraid of no robot. At most, you'll make my back better with those big arms of yours. But you common alley tourists, it's always funny to watch your faces scrunch up from a good meal.
I'm gonna scrunch my face up. Why not? I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna see how I can scrunch my face. Gosh. Because I've never really scrunched my face before, probably.
It causes heavy metal strain.
Anyone who's looking at you is a little unnerved because watching someone arbitrarily move their face muscles is weird.
Wait, hold on.
What are you doing this far away from Calm Down without a tourist group?
Oh, there you go. Found it.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so silly.
She's asking you why the two of you are so far away from like the normal people, from your people.
We started wandering and we kind of lost track in a conversation and we kind of got lost. Honestly, I would like to ask her if she probably knows the directions to that place we were meant to meet up at. Basically, a dress of some sort, I assume.
Where were you planning to meet up?
We haven't actually discussed the specific place, like out of character, but in character, I assume we've decided, hey, here's the place on the map. We're going to meet up there.
She can give you directions there. She's the kind of local that knows where everything is.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Also,
of course, she'll give it to you by swinging the wet spoon around all over the place.
That's okay. I'll keep her rag then.
It's kind of an interesting spoon, by the way. It's made out of this very glossy black wood. It's clearly seen a lot of use.
I posted what you do.
Yes! Yeah. Well, I'm actually curious. Like, would we know about this planet? Is this like a local wood, or is this like, oh, this lady migrated here from like 1,000 years ago? Okay.
If only because she looks like the kind of person who would probably shop. Like, this is not something the common alley would make. Is the question I can give you an answer to.
Man, if anything, this is a pretty trinket. Yeah.
So, do we have to pay the old lady for the soup?
Probably. I would.
Yes. So we directly ask her.
Oh.
Yes, I would like you. How much for the soup, by the way?
She gets a good laugh out of it. Normally, you always forget to pay. Well, don't worry. I got paid and a good laugh.
Okay, fair enough. I wish my boss got paid and a good laugh too.
Who is your boss anyway? Oh, sorry. That's impolite to ask if you're here on a vacation. I shouldn't be
Who's your boss?
Who's your boss?
Goes to the fox.
Is there a name I can drop that wouldn't be like necessarily recognizable? Just a random one, maybe. But probably somebody who actually
odds are
works.
you have like a section leader or something that she wouldn't have the faintest clue what you're talking about.
Probably, and I'll just say that.
Because it's like the kind of person you don't know if you work in the SCI or know the SCI.
Yeah, like I say, I'm being literal in this sense.
She'll shake her head and she'll probably be like, "What a silly name." Because different cultures.
Well, yeah, that would be a silly name. Yes. What is yours?
I have no idea. I'm not good with names.
That's a very pretty name.
Well.
Okay, Miss No Idea.
You can just call her Old Nora.
Old Nora, that makes sense. It's like, oh, everybody calls me Old Nora. I'm like, okay, I am everybody. I am a part of everybody. So, thank you for the soup, Old Nora.
Oh, I'm old, you silly little goose. I've been around since the Brown Death. I
caused it.
I might have even been around before you people even found this place.
Amazing.
And wait. She said before you even found this place. You mean commonality, right?
Yes.
And that was 100 years.
So a lot of
they don't know about
technically speaking, they were never told when the commonality actually found them. but a lot of theories speculate that it's around the time of the Brown Death.
Okay,
They're
well,
probably
my
being
answer...
observed.
Because around that time, they started getting... they got a couple of errant signals. Nothing that is concrete proof. It's kind of like if SETI picks up like a blip. But...
Well, my point here is I know the exact date, but what I want to say to her is like, that's impossible. You look too young.
She gives a good hawking laugh. Oh, you silly bean. I'm just 140 years old. Whatever a Juve can do to a lady.
See, that's how you get
Those silly squid
age.
people in your bubble houses can do a lot of good for an old lady.
Now, would that describe anything that
She's talking about the Chembo gene energy. The people you go to if you want to get like a gene treatment.
Okay, that makes sense.
I only got it because my son said that he wanted me to have me around for another 100 years. Oh, I would say no.
Dude, a grandma that cooks you the tastiest fucking food, I would pay to have mine live another 100 years. Seriously.
I miss my grandma.
Why did they give this for free anyway?
I know, Zyla.
Why are you so silly about things?
I'm just being literal, overly.
Well, since you're such a cutie, she pats your cheek with her spoon.
Oh my god.
You can come back anytime you want a little question, because old Nora knows the town very well.
Well, if we're ever in the area, I'll be sure to swing by for that.
I do want to tell you, though. Well, the cops, the local police, they might be, trying not to annoy the commonality too much. They don't exactly have a lot of patience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the OSEC, the real ones, the officers and stuff, they're good people, but, they've had to make a lot of hires since the World Unity Council thing came together, because they didn't have a security force before. I heard they had to merge so many departments. You have any idea how grumpy they all got over that?
I can probably guess. Yes. Because I assume I have at least witnessed something like that.
There's an old lady in a stall next to her who seems to be doing laundry by the looks of it. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember that one.
It's a coalition of old ladies.
I mean, you are like in an arbitrary alleyway.
Yes. Well, I mean, that makes... Well, I mean, considering there's a lot of stalls, it's probably like a center of the local community or just an
Pretty
active
much.
street.
There's like laundry hanging overhead too, probably. Oh, I remember that one. Oh, my grandson was such a big old grumpus. He was like, oh man, I have to talk to a new guy who's not my old boss. I don't want to wear the stupid new uniform and we're going to be taking over the world, the United Nations. Now he's a fiver. I don't know where he ran off to, but if I get my hands on him, I'm going to tell him not to leave his granny on their own without telling her where he went first. The spoon is like, oh, you tell him.
I think I just met her grandson.
That's fantastic.
Well, I don't know where you're going, but if you are ever planning to go over the snow layer, you should probably take some of her. And she slaps the pan, which you imagine that her hand would burn touching that thing, but she slaps it so fast she probably wouldn't even notice. You make sure to take some of this with you, because this will keep you nice and warm even up in the snow.
Cute. That would be good.
Oh my god, it's Grandma's soup from Wind Waker.
Yeah, also...
Don't forget.
Also, you know what would be... Even if she burns herself, she just grabs the little thing at the end of her ear, because it's always cold. And it's like, yeah. Because that's like the most traditional grandma move ever.
I recall that like the water description in Wind Waker was like put it on something that's old and withered, and I pour it on Grandma.
That's
so not
wholesome.
wrong. That's not wrong.
Oh, Grandma, please become whole. Here's some forest water for you. She needs a little fairy. She needs a little lady with a magic stick. That's a pro tip. And you get Grandma's soup. You get the orange power soup that makes your sword shiny. This one mean spicy soup. Sala, where were we with you?
Small crowd starting to form. I'm trying to talk my way out of this a little bit.
Well, not a small crowd. It's more like a person or two is like looking in. The officer is on the brink of losing his calm. So
Bobby already lost that.
Keep lowest 2. He, however, doesn't keep his cool. He walks over to you, and he has had enough of this commonality. Like, you are a yuppie walking in on like a rural backtown kind of area in his mind, that he's just telling him what to do with your fancy yuppie think and yuppie speak of like, oh, we should all be nice, when he's had to put up with the grit and reality of the situation. And he considers you to be the next mark. He's completely ignored the kid who's like ran off. You might not be good at hacking, but you can definitely tell that there's something coming out of his mindscape implant that's calling for backup. Or at the very least, his facial expression is grimacing a lot. Maybe he's sending his mom an embarrassing text.
God, his mother-in-law. They always message at the wrong time.
What do you do as this person walks towards you threateningly, with a scowl on his face?
Well, I think it's time to extricate myself from the situation.
We don't take kindly, people who don't take kindly, dude.
Okay, so you said this is a dark alleyway, right?
It's not bright.
Hey, you ever heard of a flashbang?
Excuse me, what are you planning to do?
Okay, I'm going to use the battery in my shock suit. And I'm going to make a large blast of electricity in my palm.
Sala, you're not wearing your shock suit. Your shock suit is not like a slim suit. That's like a straight-up combat vest.
Okay, then I'm going to use a couple of my psi points, because I have a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's better. Gotcha.
And I'm going to make a flashbang explosive type thing with my hand.
I'd say that's 2 points. All right, you could throw your electro psi, and I think you have like a bioelectric thing somewhere that helps with that.
I'm double checking because I do have under skills, so I got +2 for that.
Under melee, I think.
Because
it's got to go somewhere.
Electrobiological. Yeah, I got bioelectric. I have +2.
All right. Show me the goods.
So that's +4.
As I mentioned, he's not wearing a mask, so I don't get to say that. You create this electric spark and he winces. He even drops his club with how much his eyes are just filled, because he's walking towards you. He's looking directly at you. It's very easy to like make the flash where he's looking. He flinches. He stumbles back. He is temporarily dazed.
And I'm out.
See ya.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah, bye, Felicia.
All right.
And while I'm out, I'm gonna change my fur color.
All right.
I have that ability.
Give me a streetwise or a survival. Give yourself a boon for being clever. You can make it dexterity.
Did you let the kid get away, by the way?
Yeah,
the kid got away.
out.
Nice.
The two cops were like already walking off with the arrest, so they wouldn't even know to think of this. So.
Okay, so you said I can use dexterity and survival.
Or streetwise, and then you also get to add a boon because you're using your cool fur coat thing.
So what's the what do I add for the boon?
Boon lets you roll 3 dice and take the highest 2. It's advantage, basically.
Okay, so okay, and I can get a break on the dice. Good.
Holy
so
crap.
that is 8. That is 14.
Wait, why do you have a +6?
You said I could use dexterity and survival. I have 3 in survival and 3 in dex.
You have 3 in dex?
Oh,
no,
wait, I was looking.
Not athletics dexterity. That's like a specific skill thing.
Oh, okay. So it is 12.
That's still good enough. You escape the police for now. But we're going to end on a high note. Como, as you and the buddy are like having this fun chat with the old lady.
Yeah.
Someone walks up to you. Big, tall, muscular kind of guy. The kind of guy who would logically ask this question. Is this cog boy bothering you, lady?
Can you imagine? Is this old lady bothering you?
Is this old lady bothering you, metal man?
Oh, he's delightful.
Look, you always try to make friends with the service personnel. Not only your life relies on it most of the time, but also like they're just genuinely fun people.
Never ever
And
mess
never
with the person
mess
who can
with
spit
a
in your food.
grandma.
Look,
Never.
people made friends with professors and whatever. I made friends with like janitors and the lady who was manning the clothes.
I didn't be making
bucket.
friends with her. I probably just saved her grandson.
That makes sense, yes. It's like, sorry, your grandson is a terrorist potentially, but hey.
Anyway, so the way this has been going so far is that
Yes.
Zylo's becoming a revolutionary, and Cobo's just been chumming it up with the locals.
Yeah,
Look,
the revolutionaries are going to love me more now.
that's fine. That's good, actually, because that's actually what we need. It's just that that's not something that I would do. Like, look.
Guys, I'm a
would-
terrorist cell leader. How did this happen? We've been here 2 hours.
Eponazora is like, wait, I'm replaced by who? And they point at Zylo.
I become the leader of the fucking planet.
Okay, and then Como, of course, Iapetus comes to the planet. Wait, that means we can arrest you.
Hold on.
I arrest myself.
I know exactly what is happening.
This is great.
Here. This is Iapetus and Zyle.
All right.
I'm just scouting around. I'm just getting the lay of the land, meeting with the locals, trying not to get into trouble. There's the explosion in the background, huh?
Look, I'm just trying to be nice.
On top of a barricade, like missing an arm, waving a flag.
Again, I go with that picture of Xyla I posted a bit ago.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, with the lightning.
Silas living up to the cover of the book.
Yes. Oh, and me with Poland just eating soup.
Soup. Watching TV, eating soup.
Watching TV, eating
like,
soup.
what's going on?
It's an adventure. Do we have like a deadline on this? Really? They just sent us in here and they said, fix it.
Your deadline is Civil War happening.
Yes.
Which at this rate, I'm accelerating.
Oh shit! I guess we don't have to come back home anymore because I was started in a war. But on the bright side, what I would do after all of this, I mean, after laughing and giggling about this stuff, is we can use Zyla's newfound position to actually.
Once you guys know I have one.
Once you tell us, if you tell us, disrupt the movement from the inside.
When we meet up, so someday.
Someday. Well, I mean, yeah, it's like, God, but yeah, we can use the Zyla's influence to, like, it depends what kind of ending we're going for. We got hired to actually disrupt this whole thing and make it, fall apart and make it peaceful.
Technically speaking, the most specific part of your objective is to make sure that there's no civil war, no one dies, that peace and order comes back to some extent, there's no threat of terrorism. Then your primary objective is to get rid of the toxic memes, aka the bad boys, which are nostalgia for the way it should be. The commonality is a cold and caring machine, despite it kind of being true, and resistance or identity through violence. Basically, your actual job is to make sure that the Red Jackets, the Fivers, they can stay. They just need to be nice about it.
They just need to be, stop throwing firebombs at the shops.
Like, the commonality doesn't actually give a shit how they run their planet. The problem is that the people who want to run the planet this way are also kind of bad people.
Yes. That makes sense. So, like I said, basically turn them into modern IRA, where the only people who are in it are just like fat guys who are LARPing on parades. That's it.
I don't know what any of that means, but all right.
So Ireland hates Britain, right? And they had like in the 80s, they actually had like
they have the right to.
Yes, and so at this point right now, the only people who are like hardcore IRA members are just fat dudes that are like over 40.
Oh, you mean like the American Confederacy right now?
Well, yeah, you're just kind of fat, old, and boring, and nobody really cares anymore. So that's kind of peaceful resolution. Maybe would be reasonable for this if we can manage it. I don't know. Look, I've only seen 12 revolutions in my lifetime.
There you go. I updated it.
Yes. Okay. So I guess the squid is Iapetus.
Iapetus, why did you change
guys aren't even part of this
guns?
Wait, hold on. It fell this much since the last time you posted it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, Bitcoin is hilariously dying.
I mean, fuck it.
That is just today.
I mean, it's done that before. Like, trends are more important. Like, climate versus weather,
Have you seen my currency doing that? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna die. It's do flip.
Let me see how the Russian ruble has been doing over the last few days.
Actually, it's stronger than it was in.
Yeah, I heard it's actually doing all right, all things considered.
Yeah, the main reason for this is because they're actually introducing bank measures that are preventing people from like just withdrawing money to foreign banks.
Yeah, it collapsed like crazy, and now it's actually doing better than before.
Yeah, because they said, hey, cool, if you want to buy our shit, now you actually have to buy rubles, and everybody's actually buying rubles because nobody wants to freeze in winter, and it's like, oh shit, it's actually now expensive. Actually, to the point that they're saying we should, like, lower the exchange rate because this is getting too strong, we're not getting enough profits to actually fund the budget.
What does that mean?
So, countries that are selling things like Japan, electronics, whatnot, right, and like Saudi Arabia or whatever, they are interested in having their currency be low so that whoever buys something from them gives them $1, and they get like a bunch of local money. And countries that are buying stuff, like America, Europe in general, they want their currency to be expensive so they can buy more shit with $1 or euro or whatever.
Ah.
So now ruble is rising, and they're saying this is not actually good for the economy because it's better for us to actually get more rubles per dollar.
Because Russia tends to sell, yes.
Yeah.
Gosh.
You know, it annoys me because the 2 times I've been through the Russian airport, they wouldn't let me buy rubles, so I just buy everything in dollars, and I wanted some rubles. I wanted to have some to keep with me.
I mean,
no, they wouldn't let me have any.
You can go to the nearest like ATM and exchange it there. That works.
Yeah, but they actually didn't have any ATMs that would exchange it in the airport.
Well, I guess you could go to the local bank or something. That would make sense.
I couldn't leave the airport because of Russian visa laws.
Maybe.
Shall we close this
Yes.
session officially?
Yes.
Can our heroes finally meet up?
Yes.
We'll never know.
Yes. Okay, I want to be the squid though. You have to Photoshop my token on top of the squid.
Well, again, if you guys end up joining the Revolutionary Army, because so far you've just like hung out and met an old woman and stuff, and then there's me.
I would like to point out that if you do decide to leave if you do decide to join the Revolutionary Army and cause a revolution, if they're okay with the commonality, it's still technically a win because again, that's not the part they care about.
Yeah, they just care about us the
loss
planet
of
being
innocent
stable
life.
and not being assholes. Yeah. Like, don't post gore on the internet.
You haven't even met the goddamn ambassador, and you've already fucked with the police.
And the revolutionaries. They've talked to me twice now.
I mean, to be fair, you're being very suspicious.
Furry shows up, literally the center of attention. From
I like the idea of
from the
like.
revolutionaries.
I like the idea if you show up at the office, he's like looking at a piece of paper, like a wanted poster of Cylon, and he rolls it down as well, standing there, like in a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. Just a different color. I'm just gonna slowly, like, while nobody's looking, just tear it off.
And he's like, "Wow, that's very impressive."
So the session ends because I can figure out where you guys are with our inputs.
You can meet up
so
after.
The session ends.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was saying what I imagine happens.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
They go to leave the old woman, and the last thing that happens is Xylas skids around the corner, like grabbing onto the edge of the building. And then we get the JoJo ending song.
Funny.
Like Como's dealing with this big guy. He's just trying to be protective of Grandma. By the way, he's not like a 5 or anything. He's just like, hey, is this robot bothering you?
Yeah, I know. That's fine. Look, I've downloaded what would it be called? Like a communication package or something of the sort.
Language soft.
Yeah, I'm proficient in 6 million ways of praising your grandma.
And he's like, all right, I want to see all of them.
Also, I mean, we're gonna be here until the end of time then. Anyway, she only has 100 years left. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, this is a little bit more appropriate.
God damn.
Oh, I completely forgot about the drones I'm supposed to have.
Excuse me, could you repeat that? You cut out
drones.
A little bit on that.
Drones.
Drones.
Oh, great. We also have drones now. That makes this actually somehow more complicated.
He has a helper drone who's nice, and he has a speaker drone which goes.
I have a bow.
Yes, basically.
I have a tiny little drone that is just a scout with sensors.
He has eyes, special eyes.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing. Somebody will probably shoot it down in the first engagement. I'm going to be
Let me actually give you the down low. The speaker drone is designed with known cultures. Designed for the use with known cultures, a speaker drone provides translation when communicating with individuals without landscape access, and also possesses basic diplomatic and cultural expertise to act as an advisor. It incorporates a PSA, whatever the hell that is, communication gear to reproduce any known language. It's fancy boy. Helper drone designed for general purpose assistance, performing repairs, basic medical treatment, and various helpful tasks. It incorporates a PSA and advanced effectors, equivalent to basic engineering and mechanical toolkit of Tech Level 14 or Tech Index 8 medkit. Still don't know what a PSA is. I know what a PDA is.
PSA, public service announcement.
This drone would like to inform you that he's here. Oh, I think that's supposed to be a sensory package. Ooh, I want to figure this one out. Because it's referring to me as sensors. Man, this session sure isn't going as I expected it to, but it's going a good way. I like it.
As long as it goes in a good way. Well, how did you expect it to go?
I don't know. I expect you guys to be at the You're a fucking boss's office by this point. Here we go. Personal sensor array. That's what it stands for.
Ah.
I don't know. I didn't expect you to get so distracted, but I think it's fun. I think this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to go for when I started this up. Is to blend like the normalcy, the touching of people, and then contrast it with, oh man, there's terrorism going on. That's why we're here.
I mean, that works, but like I said, I'd love to blend in. It's like, oh, it's just the robot that lives here.
Like, Sadler's gonna have the connections with the Fifers, but at this point, you're like endearing yourself with the local populace.
As it should be. Like, my idea here is that it's like, oh, hey, it's that robot that hangs out with the old lady. It's fine. And then somebody important passes through. Robot pulls out like a disruptor rifle,
like
shoots him back.
Like the Fiver
back
has
to
like the Fiver has a rocket launcher, and the guy's like, "Don't shoot at him." Old Nora gave him a cup of soup.
Lady Nora, can you step aside for a sec?
If you spell a drop of her soup, she'll kill you. Earthbending angel. Oh, this is great. Next time, what will happen to our heroes? I mean, nothing happened as expected so far. Who knows what the fuck's gonna go?